Good Saturday afternoon to you. Hold on a second. There we go. Good Saturday afternoon to you, everybody, and an early happy Halloween. This is VypeFortBend.com, and this afternoon we have a game that was not scheduled to be played today, but it's a very important one between the Ridgepoint Panthers, undefeated in District 26A, and the Bush Broncos with only one loss in District 26A. James Kovaleski is my broadcast partner. I'm Roger Smith. And, James, you're very familiar with both of these programs, and you've seen them play a little bit this year. What do you expect this afternoon?
Honestly, I'm expecting a close game. You know, I told you my bold kind of prediction is that Bush jumps out to a lead early. I don't know exactly how, but I have that feeling that they're going to be able to strike first, and that I think on the strength of their defense, then it's going to settle into kind of like a heavyweight fight, just trading defensive stop after defensive stop, and then I think it's anybody's ball game at the end. But, as our fans out there may have heard a lot of me in prior seasons, this season I've been working in Aldine predominantly, so I'm kind of learning these teams just in the past week or two. Got to do several games with you in the past week. So I got to see Bush once, and what I see is they do have – it's no fluke that they're at the top of the standings. I think if you trusted the preseason prognosticators, which is very hard to forecast high school football sometimes, I've seen them pick as low as 6th in the preseason rankings, that are done by very smart, excellent journalists. So I think it's a big surprise that they're here, but then now that I've seen them, it's no surprise.
And you know something else? It's senior day, and I saw the line of seniors. It's amazing how many seniors they have. They appear to have closer to 30 seniors than 20. So sometimes experience can really make the difference. They've really bought in the way that Bush does things with the rugged defense and the clamp down. They always like to have at least one shutdown corner. They have one in D'Antonio Hackworth. So I think they are going to give Ridgepoint a game for sure.
Yeah, no, that's a great thing you pointed out, the senior day. I just was kind of observing after the ceremony was over, just the parents and the players and the coaches were all just kind of together and exchanging hugs, and I just sensed like a real tight-knit community. Like there's a certain chemistry in this class of 2022, and I think that's a big reason for. I think what they win last year, like 1 or 2 games.
It was a rough season last year for Bush. Yeah, they did bounce back.
To do a complete 180 like that to me that speaks to probably senior leadership. So I'm very excited for them. I'm very excited to see if they can go toe-to-toe with the defending district champion. And, if you're Ridgepoint, that's something when you have a lot of success, I mean, it is the proverbial target on your back, right? Everybody's going to get up for you. And sometimes success can breed a little bit of complacency, or overconfidence. And I don't necessarily think that's the case because I know that Coach LaFavors is very focused on that. When we talked to him last week, he said he doesn't even focus on the opponent so much. He's always focused on us at Ridgepoint. So he's watching that constantly, but I don't know. I'm with you, Roger. I think we're going to have a great game, so we appreciate all you people that tuned in. It's going to be a good one.
All right, we'll have a fairly short countdown to kickoff show, but before we go to a break, I want to tell you that someone just walked into the stadium. It is Trey Sissom, head coach of the Travis Tigers, and his son, Drew, who is a junior receiver and defensive back and will probably be the Travis quarterback next year. But speaking of next, Travis is thinking about next week. They've got Ridgepoint. They finished the season. That might be for the district title. All right, we'll step aside and be right back on VypeFortBend.com.
When everything works together, it's a beautiful thing. With Xfinity, you get Wi-Fi faster than a gig to power a house full of devices, so your home becomes a symphony of activity. We start with Dad streaming cooking videos in the kitchen. Add a little gaming in the basement. Gorgeous. Now let's bring in some working from the couch. And finally, the sweet melody of Grandpa streaming his nature shows. Can your internet do that? And there goes Grandpa.
Power a house full of connected devices. Learn more about Wi-Fi speed faster than a gig and other fast speed options. Get started with Xfinity Internet for $19.99 a month for 12 months with the 1-year agreement. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and autopay. Ends 12/31/21. Restrictions apply. New Connect 50 megabits per second Internet customers only. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. After term, regular rates apply. Gig Wi-Fi requires gig Internet and Xfi gateway. Actual speeds vary.
We're the Ridgepoint Cheerleaders, and the Panthers sent Elkins home in the second quarter last week. So tonight's we're lucky, but the Broncos are gonna get the claws from 4 corners. Coach LaFavors is next on VypeFortBend.com. Go Panthers! Woo!
And go trash-talking cheerleaders.
First Iron Automotive is passing out the treats for your vehicles the entire month of October. $25 off select AC Delco batteries, $50 off brake pad replacement, and $75 off 4 tires. Head to the website firstironauto.com and claim your savings. You don't even have to wear a costume to get these Halloween treats all month long. First Iron Automotive, a proud sponsor of Fort Bend Vype Sports. Make your appointments today at any of the 4 convenient locations in Sugar Land and Cinco Ranch. All 4 stores open on Saturday. firstironauto.com.
The countdown to kickoff show continues, but just in case all you Rick LaFavors fans out there were waiting to hear from your head coach, it's not his fault. We just didn't have enough time to get with him, so we'll step aside one more time and be back with Alan Aldridge of the Bush Broncos. This is the countdown to kickoff show on VypeFortBend.com. Ridgepoint and Bush coming your way in just a few minutes.
Hi, this is Mariela
and Melina coming to you from Nick's Italian Restaurant, where you can come and try one of our house specialties, the Nick's Shrimp, or one of our chicken pistachios. Not in the mood for food, you can also try one of our savory desserts like our homemade tiramisu or cannoli.
We're located on FM 1464, just north of Austin High School.
Can't dine in? You can call ahead at 346-401-1546 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Or you can hit us on one of the major delivery platforms, Uber, Grubhub, or DoorDash.
We look forward to seeing you here at Nick's Italian Restaurant, where our family gets bigger every time you stop by.
Welcome back to the Countdown to Kickoff show. A little bit unusual. Bush was going to have senior night on Thursday night at Hall Stadium and take on Ridgepoint, but because of the lightning delay on the last Saturday's game with George Ranch, they had to continue it on Monday. Now we are bumped to Saturday. So Coach Alan Aldridge, I guess it's a little less than ideal for your seniors to have a senior day in a stadium that is not their own, but that's not going to bother them too much, is it?
No. We preach that all the time. You can't handle situations. You just got to go out and play. The football field is a football field. So it's a great day for the seniors, their last home game in a sense. And so hopefully we can come out and get a victory tonight.
Now, when you look at the game that you played against George Ranch, I know it's one you felt like you let get away. I can kind of say that without even asking you about it. Did you have to do more to get ready physically, or a little bit more just to make sure the guys' confidence didn't go down and help them shake it off, basically?
A little bit of both. I mean, we work on that every single week, a little bit more this week than previous weeks. But, yeah, it was a tough game for us to lose. But, our thing is, hey, when you come back the next day, we forget about it, we learn from it, and then we move on. So it was a good week of practice for us.
So I'm going to assume that if you get the win in this game, that clinches a playoff spot. Absolutely. Would I be right?
That is correct.
But even if you don't get the victory, there's still a path to the playoffs, correct?
Right. If we don't win today, we definitely have to win next week.
Yes, I was trying to think it up. I was looking at all the Katy scores and figuring out who's going to be in D1 and who's going to be in D2, and I got a headache, and I'm still trying to shake that thing off. So what's going to be the key to win against Ridgepoint, because nobody in District 26A has been able to beat them thus far?
Just playing, honestly, just playing Bronco football. We've got to try to keep their offense off of the field. We got to try to stay on the field offensively and just flying around and making plays, taking advantage of all opportunities that present.
And finally, just a little perspective, we're thinking about last year and how COVID affected so many different things, and you had to do things that you had never had to do before. And before we had this conversation today, last time I saw you, where I talked to you, was on Saturday as you walked out of Hall Stadium saying, I've been coaching a long time and nothing like this had ever happened. Did I hear you right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, we're not going to have lightning today. I may not be a meteorologist, but that is the most beautiful blue sky I ever saw.
It is.
All right. Thanks very much, Coach Aldridge. Good luck today against Ridgepoint.
Thank you, and go Broncos.
All right, James Kovaleski and I'll be back with the opening kickoff right after this. You're listening to VypeFortBend.com, your broadcast home for Fort Bend County sports. Don't forget, be with us on Monday evening. We're going to have the Fulshire girls in the first round of the volleyball playoffs in Class 5A, and then Ridgepoint fans, we're going to have your team's opening round volleyball match against a team I'm sure you've heard of, the Seven Lakes Spartans. They're only the defending state champions in Class 6A. So volleyball on Tuesday night, Ridgepoint. Mark your calendars. If you're not going to be there at the Merrill Center for the actual match between Ridgepoint and Seven Lakes, we will have it for you on VypeFortBend.com. And then, of course, Ridgepoint and Travis on the field next week. And will it decide the District 26A championship? Well, maybe. We'll be right back.
Hello fans, this is Bradley Stavanaugh with Needville Insurance. We know Fort Bend County. I'm a 4th generation resident of Fort Bend. I'm your local, hometown, trusted agent. With over 30 carriers and 9 auto insurance carriers, we shop the insurance for you. We know insurance is hard. We know it's complicated. We make it easy for you. We have Spanish speakers here available for you. Call us at 979-793-7411 or needvilleinsurance.com. Once again, call us 979-793-7411.
You are the master of the multitask. Everything. We take care of you, so you can take care of business. Office Depot Office Max. Taking care of business.
Archer Volkswagen showroom is open, and our team's excited to help you. Visit our sales department Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Or bring your car in for service from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, and Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. We're closed on Sundays to rest and recharge with our families, so we can serve you well through the week. We hope to see you soon. Archer Volkswagen showroom is open, and our team's excited to help you.
Hello, I'm Gary Horn with Horn Solutions. We agree with energy analysts that the energy market has stabilized. We anticipate significant merger and acquisition activity. Good resources are scarce. Horn Solutions is positioned to assist you in accounting, finance, IT, and supply chain. Our staff can assist you with outsourcing, or we can supply you with resources to join your staff. Visit hornsolutions.net for details.
Gary Horn is a highly successful businessman who has made a huge impact in people's lives, and he loves what he does for a living. That's a big reason why Gary Horn and Horn Solutions support Get a Great Gig. Get a Great Gig is a free job search consultation service that will help you find a job you love, whether it's to make more money or get personal fulfillment in the career of your choice. Email them at getagreatgig@gmail.com or on Twitter at getgreatgigs.
Interested in Vype Campus? Vype Campus brings our popular citywide media days right to your doorstep. As a Vype Campus client, we will work with you to help you take advantage of our unique campus model to build a unique experience for your school. From media day photo shoots of all your athletes to game day coverage, broadcasts and live streams, video and digital content, hype videos, the Vype U program, same-day graphics, and of course your very own campus magazine, Vype Campus is truly whatever you want it to be. Email info@vypemedia.com to find out how to join Vype Campus today.
All right, we're ready to kick this thing off. And Kovo, have you ever seen more perfect weather for a football game? It's 72 degrees, low humidity, not a cloud in the sky, very little wind. It's just perfect here in Rosenberg, and we're at a neutral stadium because Bush and Ridgepoint were supposed to play this game on Thursday night, but because Bush's game with George Ranch had to be suspended last Saturday, they finished that game on Monday, which we broadcasted for you. And so when they realized they had to wait until Saturday to play, the only thing available was Traylor Stadium. We really appreciate the folks at Lamar Consolidated ISD for opening this thing up.
Yeah, but, it does create an unintended advantage for the Panthers. They got that 48-hour head start essentially on Bush to recover, from their games. So that's something to consider. I'd say it's minimal importance. I mean, it seems from looking at the sidelines, both teams seem fairly healthy. And I think Bush will be just fine, even though they had to play a game on Monday evening.
Gary Godwin is our referee, and he pats the Bush players on the shoulder and shows that they won the coin toss, but they defer, and Ridgepoint will get the football first, and they will receive, and they will defend the end zone to our left. And let's see, there was something else I was going to say. We also know that when Bush and George Ranch played basically, what would you say, 5/8 of a football game on Monday, most of the Ridgepoint football team was in the stands, so it wasn't just the coaches scouting. It was a lot of Ridgepoint players scouting as well.
I thought that was pretty impressive. To me, that tells me that the kids over at Ridgepoint, they're invested in the season. They care. They're following what's going on in the other games. And so I thought that was impressive to me to see that many. I saw Bert Emanuel Jr., Ezel Jolly. I mean, you'd say there's a good 20, 25 guys that were there, so it's pretty cool.
Aiden Jensen is going to kick off for Bush, and the Bush being the home team, and this being their senior day / senior night. They're wearing navy blue pants and jerseys in the white helmets, and Ridgepoint in the all-white jersey tops, pants, as well as helmets.
There's some of these Saturday afternoon games, though. I think it's just like written into the code of Fort Bend football. Like, there's never any cloud cover. These are always the brightest days I've ever seen. I don't wear sunglasses often, but I kind of wish I would have brought mine.
So
Saturday.
Bright sometimes on a hot day where if there's a medical tent, you would pretend you were hurt just so you could go inside and get some shade. Jensen has a pretty strong leg. Mason Dossett back there to receive it for the Ridgepoint Panthers. Will Jensen kick one of those pop-up jobs? We'll see. Striding toward the football, and we are underway. And he sends it down the field, and it's going to come to Dossett at the 6-yard line, moves to his left, past the hash marks on the far side, across the 30, and tripped up right there and down at the 32. On the tackle for the Bush Broncos is Olu Afaliyan.
Yeah, really good job by the Ridgepoint kickoff return team. They were able to slow down that first wave of oncoming rushes in the kickoff team. That's really hard to do. So I can kind of see that setting up that, okay, this is not going to be one where the ball carrier is tackled short of the 25-yard line.
All right, so by the way, I misidentified the guy who made the tackle on the kickoff return. There's a reason why we've had trouble with Bush rosters, and I'll tell you about that shortly. But here we go with B.J. Emanuel and the Ridgepoint offense at their own 23-yard line, 1st and 10. Fake to Charlo, picked up by Emanuel. He goes straight up the middle. He may go all the way. It's a busted play, and he's going to streak in for a touchdown from 72 yards out. It looked like he might be trying to hand it off to Kieran Charlo on a jet sweep going from left to right. The ball ended up on the ground. He picked it up, and he was gone.
Got some of the Ridgepoint camera crew here filming the game for the team, and they're kind of laughing. An incredible start. There goes my prediction. I had the upset prediction of Bush jumping out to a lead, but that's not going to happen. And I was just going to tell you, Roger, Bush is playing what we call cover 0, which means there's no middle safety. And so I was going to say, if you can get past this, it's going to go to the house. And sure enough, on the first play, it does.
Well, it'll be Austin Bowen to add the extra point. Out of the hold of Carson Gordon, the kick is up, and the kick is good. By the way, that was an Archer Volkswagen touchdown scoring drive. It took one play, it covered 72 yards, and it took 12 seconds off the clock. And it's 7-0 Ridgepoint. We'll be back on VypeFortBend.com.
First Iron Automotive is passing out the treats for your vehicles the entire month of October. $25 off select AC Delco batteries, $50 off brake pad replacement, and $75 off 4 tires. Head to the website firsttireandauto.com and claim your savings. You don't even have to wear a costume to get these Halloween treats all month long. First Tire and Automotive, a proud sponsor of Fort Bend Vype Sports. Make your appointments today at any of the 4 convenient locations in Sugar Land and Cinco Ranch. All 4 stores open on Saturday. firsttireandauto.com.
Well, these fans had not settled their butts into the aluminum seats before Ridgepoint took the lead on the very first play. Austin Bowen ready to kick off. Takes a very short run up to the football, and it's a pop-up kick, and it looks like it's going to go out of bounds. Indeed, it lands on the boundary at the 25-yard line on the far side. So, by the way, let's see. I need to, first of all, identify Nathaniel Jennings as the defensive lineman who made the tackle for Bush on the kickoff return to start the game. And there's a reason that there have been jersey number problems with Bush, and that's because they put some jerseys in a dryer that was too hot. And so some jerseys were destroyed. And as a result, if Aaron Valentine is playing in the blue jerseys, he's wearing number 5. And if he's playing in the white jerseys, he's wearing number 1. And several other players had their jersey numbers affected. They're a different number in blue than they are in white. Tyler Hilder throwing a pass over to the right flat. Short gain as he gets the ball to Jamon Cooley. Wrestled out of bounds after, I'm trying to figure out if he picked up some yardage. It's actually no gain. And they spotted the football at the 31-yard line on that kick out of bounds. Okay, so it landed at the 26, and the 5-yard penalty put it at the 31, so it's 2nd down and 10. Bush moving from right to left, and they have it on the right hash mark, and another quick throw to the sideline. It's Cooley again. This time he does pick up some yardage. He gets 4, and it's going to be 3rd down and 6 for the Bush Broncos, who like to shorten the game, run fewer plays. They enjoy running between the tackles, but that's harder to do against Ridgepoint than some of their other opponents. James Kovaleski has been talking to someone who is here to scout the game.
Yeah,
the
that
coach
was
for Seven Lakes.
Yes, sir. That was Phil Dober, the defensive coordinator for the Seven Lakes Spartans. Most likely, they've got a matchup with Ridgepoint in the first round of the playoffs.
3rd down and 6. Hilder drops back, throws it down the near sideline, and too long for his intended receiver, Michael Omodia. They did have him open by not a whole bunch, but he had a step on Ryan Ramey, the cornerback on the right side for Ridgepoint. So this is going well for the Panthers. They score on one play, and they force a 3-and-out as we have Jedediah Aduna coming on to punt it away for Bush.
Yeah, so just to get back to what I was talking about earlier, the style of defense that Bush plays is what I would consider very high risk, very high reward, right? So there are teams, they can completely shut you down, but at the same time, if you're able to stand up to that pressure, the potential for big plays is there, and that's exactly what Bert Emanuel Jr. did on the first play.
Aduna gets the punt away. It's kind of a knuckleball, and it bounces once, picked up by Marvin Session, heads to his left, now his right, now back to his left, and ends up losing a couple of yards, goes back to his 32-yard line where he's dropped. Right there, Henry Tatum, who seems to make plays all day long for Bush, brings him down, and it's 1st and 10 for Ridgepoint, already leading by a score of 7-0.
Well, here's the question for the defensive coordinator at Bush. You got torched on the cover 0 blitz in the first play. Do you just say, hey, this is what we do, this is what we do, we're going to live and die by the sword, or are we going to see them kind of back out of it here? I do see it right there, number 21. D'Antonio Hackworth is playing free safety now, so they do have a safety in the middle of the field, so a little bit less aggressive here from the Broncos on this series.
The outside linebackers look like they're ready to come, but before we get the ball snapped, there's a flag down, and it's a false start on the Ridgepoint Panthers. You know, you were noting last week when we saw Ridgepoint in the shortened game against Elkins, they have Taylor Davis, who lines up way back. He's such a good athlete. He can pick off passes and do all kinds of things from way back off the line, and Hackworth does the same thing. He's lined up here 13 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and usually he's lined up even farther back. It'll be 1st down and 15 for Ridgepoint after the false start penalty. Emmanuel steps up, might be calling an audible. Takes the snap, drops back, clean pocket, steps up, and now it collapses, and the Bush Broncos come through their defensive front. Gets a sack of B.J. Emmanuel, a little pushing and shoving. Cozy Okorafor brought him down on the sack, and he and Emmanuel exchanging a couple of shoves.
Actually, that's actually one of his offensive linemen that came in there. I kind of like seeing that. Offensive linemen say, hey, get off my quarterback, but nothing too bad there. But I like this better for Bush. You can still get very aggressive with just one high safety and still bring pressure. I think that the zero blitz that they sent on the first play is a little too aggressive. I think this is going to suit them much better. And you can see they have a very good pass rush. Got there for only 4 guys.
Now we have moving into the right slot. It's Ezell Jolly. And Emmanuel looking towards Jolly, but it's beyond his reach. And now it's caught by Session on the tip. He's still going. And he got it at the 22-yard line. Ezell Jolly, I think he touched it 2 or 3 times. And then it popped up into the air. Session grabbed it.
That's the problem with their scheme, Roger. Ridgepoint's going to come back to this. When they motioned out Ezell Jolly, it put the linebacker, number 44, Brandon Chambers. You had a linebacker covering Ezell Jolly one-on-one. You can see Ezell went right past him. So Hackworth was able to get there in time to disrupt it, but that's going to be an advantage they can come back to, because you can't ask a linebacker to cover Ezell Jolly.
Now Emmanuel wants to pass again, and he's going for the deep left corner, going up there for Session, and it's incomplete. Actually, correction, that was Wilson Batiste, the intended receiver, and Aduna was the one who broke it up for Bush.
Yeah, and if I'm Bush, I don't get worried about that Session catch. That was kind of a freak catch. Right, I still think they're doing some good things. My bigger concern is we just got to make sure that we're not getting a linebacker matched up, on a receiver. And it looks like right now what Ridgepoint's trying to do is turn this into 7-on-7. They're not trying to run the football. They may do it here.
And they do on 2nd down and 10, and Jolly gets hit hard near the line of scrimmage. He twists and maybe gets a yard out of it, but Bryce McDonald made him pay. He went right up the middle. But I will say that Bryce McDonald is the only one who could have tackled him. If McDonald hadn't been there, everybody else was blocked.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think it'd be fairly difficult to run. I'm not surprised Ridgepoint's coming out throwing. That Bush front 4 is pretty fearsome. I'm not seeing a lot of movement.
Now we have 3 receivers to the left, 2 to the right, and an empty backfield.
Cover 0, Roger.
And up the middle goes Emmanuel, but he's hit in the backfield and dropped. That play went absolutely nowhere. And the guy who came in and got him, Devin Moore, one of the seniors, many seniors on this Bush team, a 2-yard loss makes it 4th and 12.
Basically the same play as the first play. And that's the thing. It's kind of one of those things where either you're going to make a tackle for a loss because you got them totally outnumbered when you do the cover 0 blitz. Just on the first play, Emmanuel was able to make one guy miss, and then once that happens, there's nobody to stop him. But I've been impressed by Bush so far. What a great way to respond to that first play touchdown. They've settled right back into this ball game.
Holden Gray is going to attempt a field goal. It's a 42-yarder from the right hash mark. High snap. Carson Gordon gets it down. It's going to be close, but it falls short. Holden Gray is the one that Ridgepoint turns to on the longer field goals. In fact, during this season, it just so happens that the guy who does most of the kicking, Austin Bowen, he has 30 point-after-touchdown kicks, but he hasn't kicked. I don't think he's even tried any field goals. And prior to that attempt, Holden Gray only had 1 field goal. So Bush comes through after giving up that kind of flukish play to get Ridgepoint inside the 25. Their defense stands strong, and now they get the ball back.
The Bush defense is legit, Roger. The question is, can their offense answer here?
And here goes a running play. And it's going to be a 2-yarder off the left side. And what Bush has done, because they lost their main man, Nelvins Borgella, early on, and now it's Adrian Cormier who is shouldering the load in the running game. They usually have that one back set, and so he gets the bulk of the carries, and that time he got 2. Now they put someone in the backfield, Alan Aldridge III. I think you know who his dad is. Hilder hands it off, and there goes Cormier starting right, cuts up the middle, and a nice move gets him across the 30 to the 31-yard line. Pick up of 4, and that'll leave him with a 3rd down and still 4 to go.
Yeah, a lot of penetration there from the nose guard, number 52, Cortez Nichols. Great job by Cormier to avoid that. It could have been a tackle for a loss, but it's going to put him in a manageable 3rd and 5 situation. Ridgepoint, a little bit different. I mean, they are definitely playing Taylor Davis. It's almost kind of like an Iowa State style, like with the 3 safeties in the middle. I mean, Taylor Davis is playing fully at safety depth, so they're giving a little bit of a different look here.
And just so you know, Taylor Davis, has 4 picks this year, including 2 pick sixes. And now I think Ridgepoint jumped, and if it's offsides, that will give Bush a 1st down. Was it?
No, I think it's a false start. One of the wide receivers there took off a little bit early, which is inexcusable, right? To me, as an old coach. Like
the wideout should never be guilty of that penalty.
That's my thought. They can just look in at the ball and take off when the ball is snapped.
So it's going to be an obvious passing down for the Broncos, who really don't like to pass the ball that much. Tyler Hilder, 62 out of 134 on the year coming into this game, only a 46% passer, 6 touchdown throws, and 7 interceptions. And they're kind of a possession receiver offense when they throw it, 10 yards per completion.
Yeah, Ridgepoint's playing a 3-3 stack today. It's a different look than what we saw last week.
They do have some wide splits. Hilder fakes a handoff, rolls to the right. He's hit in the backfield and thrown down. Mason Hall with a sack, and Ridgepoint gets the ball back for its offense very quickly.
And that could have been just because it was a 3rd and long, but that was obviously a very pass-centric defense there out of the Panthers. I think there, if you're Bush, if you see that and you are checking the play, I would probably just check to a run, see what I can get, and then punt it away in a little better field position. But again, great job there by the Panther defense getting another quick stop.
Time for Jedediah Aduna to come on and punt it away. See if Ridgepoint rushes him. Marvin Session is deep back at his own 41. They don't really rush him. It's a low punt. It bounces a couple of times, and Marvin is not going to have a chance to pick up the football. So Ridgepoint will take over again, leading by a score of 7-0. We'll take a super quick timeout and be back on VypeFortBend.com.
Archer Volkswagen showroom is open, and our team's excited to help you. Visit our sales department Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Or bring your car in for service from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, and Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. We're closed on Sundays to rest and recharge with our families, so we can serve you well through the week. We hope to see you soon.
1st and 10, Ridgepoint from their 49, leading 7-0. Emmanuel drops back, steps up, throws to the right side, and it's incomplete over the outstretched hand of his intended receiver, Gabriel Bro. For Bush, it was Ty Bickham on the coverage.
Gabriel Bro. I remember when I was coaching, Dylan Bro was one of our receivers. I wonder if that's his little brother.
You're probably right, but it is amazing. There have been several members of not only the Ridgepoint student body, but also the staff named Bro, and they're not all related to each other. 2nd down and 10, Emmanuel to pass one more time. Slant, incomplete, intended for Marvin Session, and it was batted away by Paul Omodia. And there's our Nick's Italian Restaurant family connection. You've got Paul Omodia, a DB, number 22, and his brother Michael Omodia, number 14, is a receiver for the Broncos.
This is actually a really even ball game. You take away that first play, which, I mean, you can't take it away, but if you were to take away that first play, I mean, it's pretty even. You know, both defenses really stepping up, and so this is going to be a really intriguing ball game as we keep going forward.
So it's only 7-0, and it's 3rd down and 10. Bush will really be fired up if they can keep Ridgepoint from converting here. They come late on the blitz, but Emmanuel's going to run straight up the middle, takes on a tackler, runs over him, and gets a 12-yard pickup for a 1st down. And it was Aduna who does the punting for Bush, who was right there. But BJ, you know, he's kind of tall and lean, but he's got a lot of power when he runs.
And man-to-man defense it's easier to scramble with the quarterback in man-to-man defense because all your defenders are locked up in man coverage. They're not seeing BJ take off. And so they're late at responding. So I think you're going to see that again. You're going to see if Emmanuel does elect to pull down the ball and run, he's going to continue to have some success.
1st and 10 for Ridgepoint from the 40-yard line, and it's a handoff to Ezel Jolly, trying the left side, and he picks up 3, and that's it. Knifing through and getting underneath him was Devin Moore. He tripped him and then had a couple of teammates there to make sure he didn't go any farther. Just a 2-yard gain. 2nd and 8. Train coming.
I think Ridgepoint's they need to see if they can try to get to the edge with their run game. Maybe some jet sweeps or things of that nature. We saw George Ranch have a little bit of success with that, kind of getting to the perimeter. Because right now on the inside, it's just a wash of bodies. There's not a lot of room to run.
The inside linebackers for Bush look like they want to blitz, and they run it to the right. Jolly cuts through the traffic, runs over a teammate, and gets inside the 30 to the 29. That is a first down.
Big, the touchdown-saving tackle might have been made there by big Ronald Morrison. He was just trying to go get a block, and Ezel Jolly ran square into the back of him. But you see what I'm saying? That was a stretch play to the outside. I think that's going to open up a little more space for the Ridgepoint runners to run than maybe just like an inside zone play.
For Morrison, Saturday is a painful day. You know, he went down with an injury.
Yeah,
he came back into the game last week, but we were very concerned about him. And there, you know, Ezel Jolly just bowled him over. But that's a first down. Think of First Tire and Automotive for all your car care needs. Check them out at firsttireandauto.com. Straight up the middle with Jolly. He picks up 6, and the ball came out, and the Broncos are saying they have the football. They do. Ezel Jolly fumbles it away, and at the 24-yard line, it's a recovery by, let me get my other roster. Here we go again.
Well, you know, this game is starting to look more, I think, what I was expecting. I think we all got a little bit shell-shocked on the long, 50-yard touchdown run to start the game, but Bush is really good this year. And so I was expecting a dogfight between Bush and the defending district champion. We're being treated to it right now.
1st and 10 from the 24. Hilder hands it off on a reverse, and now a double reverse, and there goes Omodia trying to find some room, and he picks up maybe 3 yards before he's pushed back by several Ridgepoint Panthers, including Walker Aycock.
The problem with plays like that is that, like, Cedric Allen, defensive coordinator for Ridgepoint, does an awesome job coaching them. They're really good on the backside. When a play goes away from them, they're not just going to take off in pursuit. They're doing their responsibility and checking for a play coming back to them. And so you saw plenty of defenders even in position, even though that was a bit of really kind of like a double reverse look. Nobody was really fooled. Now, granted, it's still not a bad play. He still gained 4 yards. So I think it's a good play call by Bush, but I don't think you're going to see that turn into a big play against a defense like Ridgepoint's.
2 receivers to either side. 2nd down and 6 after there was a 4-yard gain on that previous play, and now a quick comeback route and a pass in and out of the hands of Jamon Cooley. Turned around, and it came in just a little bit too hot. And it's going to be 3rd and 6. And by the way, I need to give credit where it's due. Pete Hernandez-Perez came up with the fumble recovery when Jolly coughed it up a couple of plays ago. And for Ezel Jolly, this is the 9th game of the season, and that's just his 2nd fumble. And he's been carrying it dozens and dozens of times every game.
It's kind of interesting. Ridgepoint is basically playing like a 5-man line, rushing 5, and they're playing man-to-man coverage as well. So we're seeing it from both teams, the man-to-man.
Whistles before the snap as Cormier goes in motion, and I have a feeling this will be a false start. By the way, I want to thank Nathaniel Nunez. He's our producer, making sure everything sounds good. For those of you who are listening out there in web radio land. By the way, I guess the really discerning listener, like the Colombo investigator, he could realize we're not at Hall Stadium or Mercer. You would never hear a train in the background when we're at Hall or Mercer. We're at Lamar Consolidated's Trailer Stadium today. 3rd and 11 after the false start penalty. Hilder throws it, and he's got a completion to Amodia. Hit hard at the 34.
Taylor Davis.
Yeah, Taylor Davis likes to blow people up.
Wow.
And he just did, and it's amazing in football. If Amodia had caught that cleanly, he could have turned his shoulders around and avoided that hit, but he had to juggle it just for an instant, and here came Davis.
You think they're going to go for it? It's 4th and 1. You're inside your own 35.
You know what, Kovo? They're closer than the down box over there indicates. I think we might even need to measure it. It's very, very close. So if they are short, yeah, I think they're going to go for it.
I see what you're saying. I mean, it's if it is short, it's inches, and you know me, I'm a big proponent of the quarterback sneak. I think you're definitely going to get it. If it's 4th and inches, you're going to get it. This is the first momentum you've had on offense this afternoon. I would go for it, even though it is inside my own 35-yard line. It's kind of a risky play. I think any offense can pick up a 4th and inches.
So
given they run the right play.
they have moved the chains out here to the near side hash marks, and they're stretching it out. They want to make sure they get it right, which is, I guess, the best thing. It looks like there's a kink in the chain or something. Gary Godwin is the referee. He's looking at it, and it is a first down for the Bush Broncos. So they don't have to worry about going for it. That's a first down. Think of First Tire and Automotive for all your car care needs. Check them out at firsttireandauto.com. Greatwood, First Colony, Katy Cinco Ranch, and on Eldridge Road in Sugar Land. All of those 4 locations are open Monday through Saturday. Just 7-0 with 2:04 to go in the first quarter. Ridgepoint leading Bush. Bush trying to absolutely clinch a playoff spot with a win. Ridgepoint has already clinched their playoff spot and will almost certainly be playing the Seven Lakes Spartans when we begin the playoffs 2 weeks from now. Hilder hands it off. Straight up the middle goes Cormier, gets to the 40. That's a gain of 6. Taylor Davis comes up to make the tackle and helps up the running back that he really respects.
So Ridgepoint's in kind of this like 5-1 front where they're playing man-to-man. You know, Davis now playing safety instead of linebacker. So your only true linebacker looks like it's number 42, Mason Hall. I don't know if I'm not a huge – I love Ridgepoint when they're playing the 3-4 defense. It's interesting to see their run fits in this new front.
Out of the pistol, give to Cormier, hits the right side hard, but there are Ridgepoint Panthers waiting for him there. A 2-yard pickup. Mason Hall in on the tackle. So was Walker Aycock. And it's going to be 3rd and just over 1 yard.
You see how they're starting to get a little bit of traction in the run game? I just like it when it's Hall and Davis together. And when you have a run, it's nice for 2 linebackers to fit over the top together. Right now, there's just 1 linebacker. You know, so the run fits are a little bit off right now, and Bush is starting to get some momentum.
Pistol formation, 3 receivers. Make it 2 receivers on the right side and 1 on the left. Hilder takes the snap, and there goes Cormier straight up the middle. Got the first down. Ridgepoint bringing up lots of players out of the secondary to support linebacker Dalton Plitt, and they make the tackle, but not before there's another first down for the Bush Broncos and Adrian Cormier.
Yeah, it's early, and it's not like they're busting off big plays, but you can feel the momentum picking up a little bit. I wonder how long Coach LeFevers and Coach Allen will stick in this, or they're going to go back to their base.
Ball at the 45 of Bush. Cormier going right. Picks up 4 more. Slicing through to trip him was number 15 for Ridgepoint, James Wally. But the good forward lean and momentum of Cormier gets him a 4-yard pickup.
And if I'm Bush, I'm going to continue to run the football, and that's going to be the end of the first quarter. But I'm going to continue to run the football until they get out of this kind of defense. What they're doing right now, I think, is to take away the pass. You know, and it's done that. But I think that's what you're going to continue to see, Rogers, more running for Bush.
Yep. They like to keep that Ridgepoint offense off the field. We'll take a break and be back. 7-0 Ridgepoint after 1 quarter.
When everything works together, it's a beautiful thing. With Xfinity, you get Wi-Fi faster than a gig to power a house full of devices, so your home becomes a symphony of activity. We start with Dad's streaming cooking videos in the kitchen. Add a little gaming in the basement. Gorgeous. Now let's bring in some working from the couch. And finally, the sweet melody of Grandpa streaming his nature shows. Can your internet do that? And there goes Grandpa.
Power a house full of connected devices. Learn more about Wi-Fi speed faster than a gig and other fast speed options. Get started with Xfinity Internet for $19.99 a month for 12 months with the 1-year agreement. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and autopay. Ends 12/31/21. Restrictions apply. New Connect 50 megabits per second internet customers only. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. After term, regular rates apply. Gig Wi-Fi requires gig internet and Xi gateway. Actual speeds vary.
On 2nd and 6 to start the second quarter, Bush hands it off to Cormier, and he picks up 3. It's going to be 3rd and 1, and Bush likes these short yardage situations. They're now moving left to right as we start the second quarter. They have the ball on the left hash mark, and they're just inside the Ridge Point 46.
And the thing to point out right there, Coach LaFavors and Coach Allen saw the same thing I'm saw, and they went back to their base 3-4 defense on that play.
Well, is there ever a concern that if they're trying to stop this running game and maybe they do something different, panic is too strong a word, but we'll see if that, I would want your opinion. By the way, it looks like Cormier picked up the first down on a plunge up the middle. But
yeah.
Can you sometimes change what you're doing on defense, and if they call a play at just the right time when you have changed, you could be vulnerable?
You can, but I've had this happen to me where we'll kind of make a new style of defense for a particular opponent, which it looks like Ridge Point has kind of done for this week. And I haven't watched them all year, but a lot of times it doesn't work. Your kids are actually just best in their base and what they know, and I think that's what Ridge Point's doing now. They're back to their 3-4.
Bush with a 1st and 10 from the Ridge Point 43, reverse to Cooley, but he can't get out of the backfield. He is hit and thrown down. He was spun around a couple of times, and Cameron Richardson finally brought him down. They'll give him forward progress, but he loses 2, and it's 2nd and 12.
You see what I'm saying? That now they suddenly get the tackle for the loss. I think Ridge Point is so good in that 3-4. I think that Coach Allen does such an awesome job teaching it. You can use Taylor Davis. You can play him at linebacker. You can bump him back to safety. I think that's their best look. I think they were experimenting, trying something different. And maybe they've run in other games. I haven't seen a lot of Ridge Point games, but this right here to me is their optimal defense, and it's looking good right now.
Well, I will say that when Ridge Point has had the ball, they have thrown it more percentage-wise in this game than any other. They usually pass more than run. And there's a run by Cormier that goes nowhere. And that time, Ridge Point's defensive front got some penetration. And you had Cortez Nichols getting in there, and also James Eaglin, the big nose tackle. And it's 3rd and close to 13.
It's just so cool to me how, schematics do matter. The most important thing is the players, and every scheme should work. But, to me, this scheme is better for their players. And it's funny now that they've switched back to their base. You see them kind of clamping down. That's going to change the dynamic of this game.
And we'll see if the base defense can get some pressure on Tyler Hilder, assuming he wants to pass, which he does. He drops back. Here comes the blitz, and down he goes. Coming off the edge on the left side, it was Calvin Alexander. And if I'm not mistaken, Kovo, that's Calvin Alexander's first sack of the season.
Hey, good for that young man. It was a great speed rush. He beat the right tackle one-on-one, and just couldn't do it any better than that. That's about as fast as you can get to a quarterback.
And maybe Bush is, after getting a few first downs, but then getting pushed back on the last 3 plays, maybe their spirits are a little down. And the punt is blocked. It is blocked by Ridge Point. And that's number 5, Deshaun Shashery. So he picked it up, and it was a great play by Aduna to just grab him right there. Otherwise, it would have been a scoop and score. And so, let's see. I think that maybe that's the second time, or is it the first time? Actually, we have no numbers on punting for Bush, so I don't know if Aduna has had one punted, blocked this year before that. But the ball's at the 34.
Yeah, Ridge Point going back to their base. And there's a coach really upset with his punt protection team for Bush. But Ridge Point going back to their base, the run game is shut down. I think Bush is going to have to look to kind of throw in the ball a little bit, But here's the big key. The Bush defense has been playing really, really well. So can they get this big stop backed up into their own territory starting inside the 35-yard line?
They played so well on
overload set.
Overload on the left side. Emmanuel looks left now, throws right to Groen, the tight end, and he gets inside the 15. D'Antonio Hackworth saves a touchdown, but Carter Groen was all by himself on the right side. Emmanuel looked to the left. All the defense went over there, and then he hit Groen.
Beautiful trick play. That's called tackle over. they actually put a tight end in the right tackle spot. And so he is eligible, and the defense didn't see it because they're used to thinking of that as a tackle. So brilliant play calling by Coach LeFevers and his staff.
1st and 10 at the 12. Ridgepoint moving right to left, ball on the right hash mark. Phillips moves. He's kind of the lead blocking running back, and a flag came in. I don't know that he did anything wrong.
One of the linemen moved.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I ever went back and became an offensive line coach, there's 2 things I'd pride myself on. My linemen are never going to jump, and we're never going to have a bad snap. If you can do those 2 things, honestly, like you are way ahead of the game. It's amazing to me how often those penalties happen. I'm a former offensive lineman. I don't understand the jumping all the time. It can be avoided. It really can.
Yes, it's kind of simple that the game evolves over time, but one thing that doesn't evolve is when the quarterback is calling out a snap count. You know when you're supposed to snap the ball and hold still till then. There goes Jolly up the middle, across the 10, 5, and into the end zone for a touchdown past a diving D'Antonio Hackworth. And Ridgepoint gets the touchdown after the block punt, a pass to Carter Groen to get him down close, and Jolly with a pretty easy run over the left side.
I just noticed the Ridgepoint ball boy was there in the back of the end zone. It's kind of cool. He got to celebrate with Ezo Jolly while also doing his job of getting the ball back. So Ezo Jolly is something special. I think the Bush defense has played really well, but they're already starting to wear down a little bit in this afternoon heat.
Bowen on for the extra point. His kick is up. His kick is good. 14-0. Ridgepoint on top, and we'll be back on VypeFortBend.com.
Hi, this is Mariela
and Melina coming to you from Nick's Italian Restaurant, where you can come and try one of our house specialties, the Nick's Shrimp, or one of our chicken pistachios. Not in the mood for food, you can also try one of our savory desserts like our homemade tiramisu or cannoli.
We're located on FM 1464, just north of Austin High School.
Can't dine in? You can call ahead at 346-401-1546 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Or you can hit us on one of the major delivery platforms, Uber, Grubhub, or DoorDash.
We look forward to seeing you here at Nick's Italian Restaurant, where our family gets bigger every time you stop by.
Austin Bowen ready to kick it off for the Ridgepoint Panthers, who have an undefeated record in District 26A. They only have 1 loss on the year, and that was to C.E. King. And they're looking to stay undefeated. They now lead 14-0 over Bush, and they play Travis next week in the season finale. Bowen's kick comes down to the 15-yard line, and it's Hackworth bringing it back to the middle of the field, and he's hit hard at the 24 and dropped right there. And for Ridgepoint, they have so many good athletes. Peyton Doucette really doesn't get on the field too much as a linebacker or his normal position in the secondary, but he takes out his need to hit people on the kickoff coverage.
Yeah, the biggest thing about the Ridgepoint kickoff team it was different for Bush. The Bush kickoff coverage started slowing down to anticipate the blockers. The Ridgepoint just accelerates past them.
First and 10 for the Broncos from the 25-yard line.
So we'll see how Bush plays from behind. They're really not, their style isn't well suited to play from behind. Not that they can't catch up, but it's just not really conducive to it. There goes Cormier again, and Eaglin grabs him before he can run through the pile. And I see Walker Aycock is patting Eaglin saying, good job, In other words, It kind of looked like I didn't have to do much because of you.
I just love watching a good 3-4 defense. This is what we ran even back in my days at Ridgepoint, and with Coach Hammond, who followed me. And you have your safeties are your force players, so they're coming down to play the run. It's just a thing of beauty. These kids are so well coached. They're disciplined. They're doing what they've been taught, and there's nowhere to go in the run game right now.
Amodia and Cooley.
Well, now they're picking up the pressure, though. It's man-to-man.
Okay, here we go. 2 receivers on either side, both facing press coverage, and Hilder gets rid of it quickly off of the helmet of the defender, Taylor Davis, and it falls incomplete. And I think they put Hackworth in as a receiver there. No, they didn't. That's Jamon Cooley, and it's incomplete. 3rd and 10.
Yeah, they switched back to that other kind of defense where they're using the 5 rush linemen and then playing man-to-man with it. That's the thing. Taylor Davis, the heavy hitter from linebacker safety, he's also good in coverage. There he is, just running step for step up the seam. So he's a really impressive player. I can't wait to see where he ends up continuing his career in 2 years.
He's definitely, I think he's got pro jock genes too. 3rd down and 10. Hilder drops back. They do protect him. Now he's flushed to the right, towards the sideline, and just unloads it, belted by Mason Hall as the ball flies out of bounds incomplete. It'll be time for Aduna to punt, and you can bet that Coach Aldridge and his staff have counseled the punt protection unit on how to, well, let's see, I think it's not Aduna who's punting this time. It's somebody different. I think it's Jason Eziokwana. Marvin Session back to receive it. On 4th and 10, no chance for Eziokwana to run. Bet you $50 he doesn't. Good snap, and he had to hesitate, and then he got it in the air. It's a spiral, and Session calls for a fair catch at his 43-yard line. So pretty effective punt, I would have to say.
And will be placed at the 43-yard line.
33-yard punt with no return, and you don't see too many of those punts where it spirals and the nose stays up the whole way. That's the way people used to punt it, back in my day. Back when the only team from a competitive district that went to the playoffs was the champion of that district. Now we have 4 in the playoffs, and before Ridgepoint runs a play on 1st and 10.
Did you see that?
Actually, I didn't realize they had lined up. So no. What happened?
Wilson Batiste was completely uncovered. So Batiste is telling Burt Jr., hey, check, I was completely uncovered. He could have thrown right to me. I would have walked into the end zone.
So the Bush coaches saw it and called a timeout?
Correct.
Yeah.
Special halftime interview with former Astros manager Bo Porter.
By the way, it's second quarter, and that's a good time to tell everybody what we have at halftime. You may remember the name Bo Porter. He was the Astros manager before A.J. Hinch took over. And Bo Porter was managing a team that just wasn't ready to win. I don't know, name your greatest manager ever, whether it's Tony La Russa or whomever, Whitey Herzog. There's no way any manager could have won with the Astros before 2015. But Bo Porter he's very well connected at the highest levels of baseball, and he's on boards, and it's really amazing. And I'm kind of hoping with all of his expertise in running a baseball organization, he might be able to manage the Astros if Dusty wins it and says, you know what, I'm into my 70s, I'm ready to go. Speaking of ready to go, Ridgepoint runs it over right tackle on the first play, and it was a handoff to Ezel Jolly, 2-yard gain.
It's an extreme heavy set. They got 9 guys across the line of scrimmage. You don't see this very often.
And most of them on the right side, and Jolly runs right, but Bush defends it well. Kind of coming in around the backside, Cozy Okorafor wrapped up his feet. Help arrived, and 2 more yards. It's now 3rd and 6.
Yeah, that extra tight end that came in there missed his cutoff block. That's where that leakage came from.
And it's a fake to Jolly, and Emmanuel keeps it, and it's 3 yards that time. And Okorafor makes another tackle, and will Ridgepoint go for it on 4th and 3 at the 50? Why are they suddenly doing this?
I don't know. I think they're trying to establish the line. But the thing is, when you have to bring in this many reserve linemen to do this, like some of these players, they're reserves for a reason, And I saw the same player miss the block twice in a row.
And in come the receivers: Batiste, Charlo, Pisapia, and Session. And it's 4th and 3 at the 50. Ridgepoint boldly going, and the snap gets past Emmanuel. He has to go back and look for it. The ball is on the floor, and it's picked up by Bush, and now a guy is running with it, and Chambers tries to take it from him, and it'll be Bush football at the 28-yard line. That play was doomed from the start. Emmanuel looked like he didn't expect the snap quite that early.
Yeah, and it almost, one of the Bush defensive linemen jumped. So I don't know if Coach LeFevre is trying to argue there's a guy in the neutral zone, but he may have gotten back in time. But even though it feels like Ridgepoint is completely in control, which they are, but it's only a 14-point game. You know what I mean? It's not a 28, 21-point lead. So if Bush can find a way to get into the end zone, make it a one-score game, things get interesting.
And they will get the ball to start the third quarter. I don't know if I finished my thought before. I was just telling everybody Bo Porter is our halftime
news
interview.
to me. Bo Porter is in line to potentially be the successor to.
Well, I'm just saying I think he's qualified.
Oh,
that's
okay.
all. But no, there is no successor yet because Dusty hasn't quit yet. And there goes. Are they running the Wildcat? I believe they are. And Cormier took the direct snap. So Bush is running a little different offense. And I think Tyler Hilder may be on the field, but they put him over as a slot receiver. No, he's not even out there. Cormier taking the direct snap. He gained 5 yards on that first play. They're at the 24 with a 2nd and 5. And he hands it off to a running back who just doesn't have really the speed to get out of the backfield. That's Alan Aldridge III. He ran into a team portrait of the Ridgepoint defensive front.
I don't think that was a knock on his speed. That was a knock on, no blocking. I mean,
You're
there
right.
was an unblocked defensive end right there.
And I know what you said was right as soon as I said it.
Right.
If you have nowhere to go,
right,
you can't show your speed.
Sure.
So I withdraw that. Strike it from the record.
Yes, sir.
3rd down and 7. They haven't sent Hilder back out there. Will Cormier throw it? He's going to run the option and flips it back. And it's Omodia with the football, and he doesn't go very far. Correction, not Omodia. It's Donovan Nixon. And he lost a yard, so it's 4th and 8. And they're too far away for a field goal, too close to punt. I think they'll go for it from the 26. Cormier still taking the snaps. I hope Tyler Hilder's okay. And it's Cormier to throw, dropping back, flush to the left, and sacked. James Wally makes it Wally World, and the ball will go over on downs.
Man, Ridgepoint's got some guys that are just such a great mix of size and speed. I mean, I'm looking at him. I'm looking at Mason Hall. I mean, just they have big kids. They really do. Not so much like the kids not that they have a ton of 6'7", 300-pounders, but their skill, not that they're skill positions, but their defensive end linebacker types are built, and that's really impressive pass rush right there.
Out of the pistol, Emmanuel hands it off, stretch play, running right. It's Jolly into the open space, and he gets a 1st down and more into Bush territory, all the way to the 48-yard line, and that's a pickup of, well, I'm sorry, I forgot where the line of scrimmage was.
Ezel Jolly's like a junior, right?
Particular.
I think he is. But I remember last year, I think he was a sophomore. You could tell he had juice. You know what I mean? He's a big play guy.
Yes, he is a junior. And he runs it up the middle again. And this time he picks up 6 more, and that's Phillips blocking out in front of him. Ryan Phillips loves to play the role of blocking back. Every once in a while, once a month, they'll give him a carry. He did get a touchdown this year. I remember that. A lot of fans with their umbrellas. And Emmanuel hands it off to Jolly, but this time he's trapped in the backfield. And is it Okorafor again? Yes. Cozy Okorafor is on several plays. He's been living in the Ridgepoint backfield. And that's a loss of a couple. It's 3rd and 5. In comes Ashton Bethel Roman at one of the receiver spots for Ridgepoint. He and Batiste are over here on the near side. They still have Phillips in as a blocking back. On 3rd and 5, give to Jolly, hit near the line, and he goes down after a short gain. And an amazing job in there by Bush's Isaac Bouye, who had a lineman on top of him, but somehow grabbed Jolly's foot enough to slow him down. And it's going to be a timeout taken by Ridgepoint before they see what they're going to do on 4th and 4. We'll be back on VypeFortBend.com.
Hello fans, this is Bradley Stavanaugh with Needville Insurance. We know Fort Bend County. I'm a 4th generation resident of Fort Bend. I'm your local, hometown, trusted agent. With over 30 carriers and 9 auto insurance carriers, we shop the insurance for you. We know insurance is hard. We know it's complicated. We make it easy for you. We have Spanish speakers here available for you. Call us at 979-793-7411 or needvilleinsurance.com. Once again, call us 979-793-7411.
We see all you do to get work done, whether it's keeping your office clean or redesigning your space for 3 or 300. Our business is to keep business going. Buy online and pick up in store or get free next business day shipping at Office Depot, OfficeMax, and OfficeDepot.com.
Ridge Point called the timeout. Wanted to make sure they have the right play dialed up on 4th and 4, and the Bush Broncos hanging in there, as Kovo has said several times. It's just 14-0, and they will get the ball to start the third. So if they get a stop here, it would be huge for the Broncos. Emmanuel trying to draw the Broncos off. Still 12 seconds on the play clock. Ridge Point in no hurry. Now they send Session in motion from right to left, and Emmanuel wants to throw. Moving to his left, looking down the field, he's got Session. First down inside the 30, makes a cut, and he's headed for the end zone. Touchdown, Marvin Session. Goes in from 43 yards out on 4th and 4, and that is a crushing blow for the Bronco defense.
Yeah, I'm not going to name the player, but the defender there just completely stopped covering. He completely gave up on the play. First of all, gave up on coverage, and then he didn't even go in pursuit after the ball was thrown. So the coaches are just totally shell-shocked right now on how that could happen, and that's really discerning to see. So that's if you're a college coach watching that tape, you don't like seeing that, because that was completely just giving up on a play.
And it was a pretty easy read for Emmanuel as he kind of slid to his left, got away from the traffic, and he could see what Marvin was doing, and he just separated himself from the receiver. All he had to do was make one move, and he scored, and we've got a new score. It is 21-0. Ridge Point over the Bush Broncos. We'll be back on VypeFortBend.com.
When everything works together, it's a beautiful thing. With Xfinity, you get Wi-Fi faster than a gig to power a house full of devices, so your home becomes a symphony of activity. We start with Dad streaming cooking videos in the kitchen. Add a little gaming in the basement. Gorgeous. Now let's bring in some working from the couch. And finally, the sweet melody of Grandpa streaming his nature shows. Can your internet do that? And there goes Grandpa.
Power a house full of connected devices. Learn more about Wi-Fi speed faster than a gig and other fast speed options. Get started with Xfinity Internet for $19.99 a month for 12 months with the 1-year agreement. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and autopay. Ends 12/31/21. Restrictions apply. New Connect 50 megabits per second Internet customers only. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. After term, regular rates apply. Gig Wi-Fi requires gig Internet and Xfi gateway. Actual speeds vary.
Jamon Cooley runs back the kickoff to the 29-yard line for the Broncos, and they are down 21-0 with 1:20 to go before halftime. Join us for our interview with former Astros manager Bo Porter. By the way, if you have any young man in your life who loves to play baseball and, I don't know, anywhere under the age of 20, Bo Porter has a place for him to go to get great baseball instruction. I know there are a lot of great places for baseball instruction in our area, but wait till you hear about Bo Porter's place. Here's a quick pass to Cooley in the right flat, but he can only get back to the line of scrimmage. That's all he is able to do, as it's Nichols who brings him down. 2nd and 10.
No gain on the play brings up a 2nd down and 10.
Hilder is back out there. The last series of downs, Bush went with the Wildcat and snapped it directly to Adrian Cormier each time. Now clock is down to 42 seconds to go. Cooley in motion to the left. Hilder looks at Cooley, now throws to him. He gets across the 30 and he's stood up and thrown back. Ouch. Deshaun Shashery made a nice tackle for the Panthers, and Alejandro Colbert was also in there. And Taylor Davis, it looks like Taylor is saying, yeah, that's the way I taught you to do that.
20 seconds to go, so they're going quick now.
3rd down and 8. Hilder drops back, throws near the right side. Cooley hit hard at the 35, short of the first down. And will Ridgepoint call a timeout here? I don't think they're going to. The clock is at 4.
I'd call a timeout and try to block the punt.
Well, I think that would be a good idea too, but the clock has expired, and it ends. The first half ends with Ridgepoint leading 21-0. We'll be back with Bo Porter right after this on VypeFortBend.com.
First Iron Automotive is passing out the treats for your vehicles the entire month of October. $25 off select AC Delco batteries, $50 off brake pad replacement, and $75 off 4 tires. Head to the website firstironauto.com and claim your savings. You don't even have to wear a costume to get these Halloween treats all month long. First Iron Automotive, a proud sponsor of Fort Bend Vype Sports. Make your appointments today at any of the 4 convenient locations in Sugar Land and Cinco Ranch. All 4 stores open on Saturday. firstironauto.com.
Welcome to halftime on VypeFortBend.com. Our halftime score:
Ridgepoint 21, Bush nothing.
And we like to bring you great halftime guests, and we think we got one for sure. Bo Porter, the former Houston Astros manager, who just a little bit south of Hall Stadium, just past Savannah Parkway in Brazoria County, has a fabulous baseball facility where kids of all ages are grooming themselves to play the great game of baseball. Bo, great to talk to you.
Well, I tell you, it's an honor and pleasure to be here and to sit down to have this conversation. I thank you so much for the opportunity.
Well, I know that people are going to say, oh yeah, he was the Astros manager before A.J. Hinch, and that is true. But there's so much more to what you do. You're involved in so many things. You're on boards of people who are very high up in professional baseball. They're seeking your opinion about things. We could talk about it a long time, but what's kind of about a minute's worth of the things that you do besides running that facility where you're training young athletes?
Well, I'm still involved in Major League Baseball. I work for the Commissioner's Office. I'm the Director of Coaching Development, which allows me to stay connected to the game for one, but also to lend my experience and wisdom to the next generation of coaches. We look at the activations that we've been able to start over the last year or so, the MLB Draft League, the MLB Combines. I've had a hand in all of those activations, just wanting to spread the game of baseball throughout the country and really help our organizations with the onboarding of the talent that's coming into our game.
So I guess it's safe to say there's not a GM in the major leagues that you don't know. Is that pretty accurate?
I'm pretty connected, and I follow the game obviously with great interest. When you spend 29 years in the game, it's something that you always want to make sure that you make yourself available to the people that you have developed relationships with. I have organizations that call and just seek my opinion about different things. And it was good for me moving into the commissioner's office because now I'm not affiliated with one particular team. It actually gives me an opportunity to actually, communicate with all the teams.
Well, one of the things that you told me before we started doing this interview is that you love Houston. And I'm the same way. I'm a sucker for people that come here and stay here and say how much they love it, because the greater Houston area is not just where I was born and where I've spent most of my life. It's who I am. I kind of take it personally when our teams lose and things like that. I'm really into it, have a lot of community pride. I know a lot of people feel the same way, and you are one of them. Why?
Well, this is where I decided to make my home. I was born and raised in Newark, New Jersey, and after one off season of snow and sleet and just awful weather in the Northeast, I decided to move here to Houston full time, and it was arguably one of the best decisions I ever made. It gave me an opportunity to work out outdoors full time in the off season before I got ready to head to spring training. And it's the place where I called home, even though I coached and managed, for 18, 19 years elsewhere. It didn't matter. Houston was always my home base.
That sounds kind of familiar because one of the other famous sports figures that didn't get born in Houston, but he got here as quick as he could, Akeem Olajuwon, he was on a recruiting trip in St. John's. In New York. And he was on a payphone outside the airport when the wind is howling and it's sideways, freezing rain. It was awful. And he called someone at the University of Houston and said, "What's the temperature there?" And he said, the person on the other end said, "It's 75 degrees. And he said, "I'll be on the next plane." And the rest is history. Akeem Olajuwon comes to Houston, loves the weather, loves everything about it, becomes a Cougar and a Rocket, and made us so proud. So that's another great story. There are a lot of those.
Yes, so thank God for bad weather on the East Coast.
Yeah, it can happen. It's amazing how the weather determines so many things, like how many people come to your funeral and stuff like that. So we're talking with Bo Porter, the former Astros manager, and we're going to take a break and come back and talk about what it was like to be with the Astros and leading the organization when the success had not quite come yet. The roots had gone down and it was coming, but not a lot of people knew about it. More with Bo Porter on VypeFortBend.com. We'll be back on our halftime show in just a moment.
Hello, I'm Gary Horn with Horn Solutions. We agree with energy analysts that the energy market has stabilized. We anticipate significant merger and acquisition activity. Good resources are scarce. Horn Solutions is positioned to assist you in accounting, finance, IT, and supply chain. Our staff can assist you with outsourcing, or we can supply you with resources to join your staff. Visit hornsolutions.net for details.
Gary Horn is a highly successful businessman who has made a huge impact in people's lives, and he loves what he does for a living. That's a big reason why Gary Horn and Horn Solutions support Get a Great Gig. Get a Great Gig is a free job search consultation service that will help you find a job you love, whether it's to make more money or get personal fulfillment in the career of your choice. Email them at getagreatgig@gmail.com or on Twitter at getgreatgigs.
Welcome back to our halftime show, and our guest is Bo Porter. He used to be the Astros manager before A.J. Hinch took over. His final season with the Astros was in 2014. I went to a lot of those Astros games with my son, who's now 19, and it didn't matter that the team was not in first place. We loved our team. And so what is the thing that makes you proud? People might say, wait a minute, they didn't have winning seasons. But I know you're proud of what you accomplished when you were leading the organization in the dugout.
Yes, I think anytime you're hired to do a job, the expectation of the ball club, kind of hinges on where the organization is at. And when you look at, my tenure with the Houston Astros, the organization, was going through a complete rebuild. And when you go through a rebuild, one, it's a tear down, and you're not going to invest in the talent on the field because at that time you're trying to evaluate players to figure out who's going to actually be around when we are ready to put a championship team on the field. But when you look at the body of work, to me, the success can be found in, are you leaving the organization better than it was when you arrived? And that's the one thing that I can hang my hat on. Our staff did a tremendous job of laying the foundation of what it takes to be a champion. And I think we look at the team today, the fruits of that labor is the Jose Altuves, the Marwin Gonzalez, the Carlos Correas, the George Springers, the Dallas Keikos, the Jason Castros, all of those guys that were there during those lean years. That development actually set the stage for what could be, arguably called the team of the decade.
Well, Bo, I consider myself a layman. I broadcast sports. I talk to as many people as I can that I think are very wise and know a lot, so I can at least talk intelligently about the various sports that we cover on VypeFortBend.com. But this is just my opinion. The state that the Astros were in, it didn't matter how great the manager was, the Hall of Fame manager, anyone that you would like to name. I just don't think they could have turned the Astros into a champion at that point with what they had as far as personnel at the major league level. Do you agree with that?
Well, it's very difficult because when you look at Major League Baseball, it's a talent-driven league. You can look at the two teams that's in the World Series right now. They're in the World Series because they have talented baseball players. And when you look at talent base and you look at organizations every offseason, they make a decision on where they're at as an organization. Are we in a window? When I mean a window, a championship window, or are we behind the pack and need to make good financial decisions as to how we allocate our resources? So I would say, like, now that I've actually managed, I've moved into the front office, I've had experience with the scouting department, I've had experience with player development, I've had experience broadcasting. So all of the things that I've been able to do since managing the Astros actually has made me more well-rounded as it relates to the game itself, working with the commissioner's office. So looking through the lens that I look through now, I completely understand why we had to do what we had to do when I was managing the Astros. But the competitive side of anybody that's in that position, you want to win and you want to have every opportunity to win. But when you look at the organization and where it was at, it just wasn't that time. So I have to basically accept that. But it did not stop me from showing up to the park each and every day and giving every player that was in that clubhouse 100% each and every day.
And I don't know if it was Mr. Crane who delivered the news or it might have been Jeff Luhnow, but when you found out you weren't going to continue as the Astros manager, did it come as a surprise? Did you think you might get a chance to continue?
Well, in this job, what you know for sure is that as a major league manager, you're only being hired to be fired. It's the nature of the business, and there was some tension within the organization. I felt like we were going to be able to move beyond it. The decision was made not to move beyond it, and I hold my head up high to the things in which we were able to accomplish and the things that took place, the players and how they developed. And to this day, Jeff and Jim Crane, we're cordial to each other. I don't harbor any bad feelings. I thank them for the opportunity that they gave me to manage Major League Baseball. There's only 30 Major League teams. And to be able to sit here and be, one of the people that can hold your hand up and say, I managed a Major League Baseball team, that's something to be proud of.
Well, I'm just kind of thinking aloud here. I mean, I hope the Astros win, and, they're in the midst of the World Series as we speak. So if the great Dusty Baker, someone everyone loves and admires, is able to get that one thing that he has not accomplished, he's accomplished everything else as a baseball manager. If he can make the Astros world champions, he's at age 72. He might be ready to say, I think I've done this long enough. I'm just thinking it would be wonderful if you at least got a shot to talk about what you could do for the Astros and maybe convince Mr. Crane and Mr. Click that you could be in the dugout again and take them to another World Series.
Well, I would cherish that opportunity if it came along. I want to touch on a couple of things that you said. One, I want to touch on Dusty Baker, and because he's a mentor of mine and has played a major role in my development, I want nothing more than for Dusty Baker to get his chip. But I will say this, Dusty Baker is a Hall of Famer. Whether he gets the chip or not, he's a Hall of Famer, in my opinion. I don't even think Dusty Baker needed this run that he's had with the Astros to be a Hall of Famer. I thought he was a Hall of Famer after he left the Washington Nationals. So when you look at his body of work and what he's been able to do in the game, I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal. And to your other question about my interest level, if the job was to come open, I'll say this. What I was able to prove my first time managing with the Astros was that I can take a team that's in transition and a rebuild, and I can lay a foundation that can lead that team toward a championship, even though I didn't get an opportunity to actually see it all the way through. I have all the confidence in my world and all the confidence in the world to actually take a team that's in a rebuild, and I know that I can lay a foundation that would be one that can lead that team to a championship. I have not had the opportunity to take a team that is expected to win and to see what I can do with a roster that's expected to win. But that is a challenge that I look forward to one day.
I'd be very happy to see you get that chance. Now, before we let you go, I want you to talk about Bo Porter's Future All-Stars Baseball Development Academy, this facility on Highway 6, south of Hall Stadium. You get into Brazoria County. It's just past Savannah Parkway. It was not built specially for you, but it seems like an ideal place. What goes on at that academy?
Well, we're developing young men. I think that the biggest thing I can say about our academy is that it's more than baseball. Baseball is just a hook. I tell all of our parents, all of our kids, that baseball is the common denominator that brings us all together. But what we are really doing is we're preparing kids for the biggest game they will ever play in their life, which is the game of life. And when they walk through the door, I tell them my biggest concern is that you are a man when you walk out the door. So when you look at the number of kids in which we're able to impact, it's been phenomenal since opening in April. Our kids are developing. They have completely, bought into the holistic approach in which we go about development. It's strength and conditioning. It's baseball fundamentals. I tell all of our kids all the time, baseball is a skilled repetition sport, and it's great for us because we have excellent coaches. We run, it's like a major league spring training each and every last one of their practices. So they are actually getting, the tutelage that it takes to harness all of their skills. So I'm just excited about the future of all of these kids and just looking forward to how baseball is going to be able to actually help impact them as they move forward in life.
What you just said is so beautiful, and it's the reason that when I was about 3 feet tall, I worshiped high school athletes, and I wanted to be like them. I wanted to be one. I enjoyed being one. I enjoyed having sons who played in high school athletics. So thank you for everything you're doing to mold young men and young women into great athletes, but not just great athletes, well-rounded individuals who have that spiritual guidance. They have integrity, morality. There's not too much better in this world these days than active dads who are leading kids and helping them be better and be better than they thought they could be.
Yes, it's a great opportunity to pay your blessings forward. I sat down one day and, this is something that has always been a passion of mine, and I was just thinking about all of my experiences and asked myself the question, like, what are you going to do with all of this experience? What are you going to do with the resources and the network that you have? And it just made all the sense in the world to pour it back into generations to come.
All right. Bo Porter, it's been a real pleasure. Thanks for being with us, and hope that you will become a fan of VypeFortBend.com. We try to shine the spotlight on all these kids who are striving and representing their school and their community so well.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm already a fan of Vype.
That sounds great. We'll be back with more on VypeFortBend.com right after this break.
Take care of you so you can take care of business. Office Depot Office Max.
Taking care of business. Welcome back to halftime on VypeFortBend.com, your broadcast home for Fort Bend County High School sports. And it's a great opportunity here to talk to Bryce Kennard. He's with Comcast, the External Affairs Manager, and they have a great product that is so important to families these days called Internet Essentials. First of all, welcome in, Bryce.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here.
Well, the world has changed so much in about a year and a half, and even though so many things are getting back to normal, and that includes school, most every district is doing in-person school now in the state of Texas, but it is still critical for families to have good internet service. It's all about school assignments, work things that the adults in the home do. What does Internet Essentials make it possible for some people, who might not have thought they could afford good Wi-Fi and internet?
That's such a good question. So Comcast has been working in the digital equity space for more than 10 years. the Internet Essentials program as part of our wraparound strategy to support students and households who maybe have not had internet for the first time at all. And so if you're looking to get an affordable option, the Internet Essentials is your best option.
I will give you a couple of chances, in fact, probably several chances to say this, but is there a particular website or phone number that people should call when they hear you talking about Internet Essentials and they hear how great it is? Where should they go if they are interested?
Okay. So the Internet Essentials program has 3 pillars. There's of course, the broadband connection. You've got access to purchase a laptop for a great price, and you have access to free digital literacy training classes. And all anyone has to do to get connected is visit internetessentials.com.
That's easy to remember, internetessentials.com. So let's talk about some anecdotal type things where it might have happened to you. It's probably happened to someone you know where maybe they just went through incredible stress because they weren't able to, I don't know, turn something in at the right time, or they weren't able to get the proper quality of something. Is there some kind of anecdotal thing you can describe where Internet Essentials could certainly come to the rescue and prevent that type of situation?
Absolutely. Right now with the pandemic hopefully closing and coming to an end, but right now a lot of families are struggling to have a reliable internet connection, and not just the student, but really the parents and anyone that's in the household. So if you got bills to take care of, if you got medical records you're trying to access and upload, having a strong in-home connection is so valuable right now, and it's very important.
All right, we're talking with Bryce Kennard. He's with Comcast, the External Affairs Manager, and he knows all about Internet Essentials. And sometimes that having the right kind of Wi-Fi service and the right kind of connectivity in your home can be a cost situation. Well, until now. In fact, this is a great product. It's not brand new because Comcast introduced it how long ago?
About 10 years ago. We introduced the Internet Essentials program, really as a way to close the digital divide. We have been working with a number of school districts, a number of nonprofit organizations to make sure that there are no challenges when people are trying to get connected to the internet at home.
Well, you probably didn't know that I was going to do this, but I just want to ask you a couple of questions. So you are a Houston guy, which is something we love, Greater Houston. We're all very proud of it. And you went to Aldine Eisenhower. So what do you remember? I don't know whether you took part in athletics or were just a fan rooting for the teams that represented your school. What are a couple of memories for you?
First of all, I love being a high school student in Houston. It's such a fantastic culture and shared kind of experience that we all love. I remember, of course, the football game, right? I remember the cheerleaders, I remember the football players, and I just remember, most importantly, the energy and all the excitement that I had from rooting for my hometown team, especially I went to Eisenhower, but I rooted for all kind of Houston football teams, so that's still the same case today.
Did you pull any pranks on anybody from a rival school?
I would like to say that I did. In my head I did, but no physical pranks.
Well, I can tell you about something that didn't have anything to do with Aldine Eisenhower, but I went to McCullough, which became the Woodlands. You've heard of McCullough when it was McCullough?
Yes, I have.
Oh, then you're older than you look, I guess. So we were playing Klein on their homecoming game. We were in our first year as varsity, and at the time, this is how long ago it was, Klein was the only school in Klein ISD. Klein Oak hadn't even been built, and Jim Parsons, who's an alum of Klein Oak, he must have been, 4 or something at the time. You do?
Yeah, I know of Jim, of course, but yeah, I do. I know that.
You know him personally?
I know that name, and I know the personality.
Oh,
You know how
okay.
some people are just infamous?
Yeah, I know. I got kind of excited there because I thought you could maybe help me get a halftime interview with Jim Parsons, the Big Bang Theory guy. Okay, but never mind. Unless you do meet him, please give him my card. Anyway.
If I do, you know I've got you covered, buddy.
Okay, we've kind of gone down a rabbit hole, but that's okay. We're visiting with Bryce Kennard of Comcast, and he is the expert on Internet Essentials. But the prank was some drafting students, guys who wanted to be architects, none of whom were football players, broke into Klein Memorial Stadium, which at the time had a grass field. Well, they put on the field the most perfect Super Bowl quality logo because we were McCullough. Big M then in the middle a very small C, and then a very large block C on the right. And they made a logo on the field that went from 40-yard line to 40-yard line and hash mark to hash mark. It was perfect. And when dawn broke on that Friday morning when we were to play Klein that Friday night, they discovered there was a problem in the middle of the field, but they couldn't get rid of it. They couldn't hose it down. It would have become a swamp there at the 50-yard line in the middle of the field. So we played Klein with our logo in the middle of their field, and they were pretty PO'd. I have to tell you, we lost 50-6.
That's one for the history books. That's fantastic. It's always nice to kind of experience and also kind of get to do some pranks, as long as they're fun.
Okay, but you don't have one to top the one that I told about?
No, I don't. That's a pretty good one, actually.
Well, thank you. And I'm kind of glad you don't have one to top it, because we're kind of running out of time. We're about to start the third quarter. So, Bryce Kennard, thank you so much for being with us. And we want people to know that Internet Essentials is a great option for them. It's not going to cost a lot, because if people are at an economic disadvantage, that will certainly qualify them, and Comcast, being a great corporate citizen, is going to help them out. And one more time, give all the contact information, which doesn't take very long.
It's really easy. For more information, visit internetessentials.com.
Okay, sorry for the silence. Here we are, ready to start the third quarter. Thank you very much to Bryce Kennard and Comcast. And Holden Gray kicks off for the Ridgepoint Panthers to start this third quarter, and D'Antonio Hackworth tries to run up and make a catch near the 20-yard line, but he could not get to the football, but no harm done for Bush. It ends up going out of bounds. So, Kovo, what would you have said to your team if you were on the Bush staff when they're down 21-0?
I would have tried to just say, hey guys, it's 21-0, but we gave the one big play on the first play of the game. We kind of gave up on a coverage that led to a third touchdown. We had a blocked punt. I mean, I would say something along the lines of, we're just a couple plays away from being in this game, and just try to take it one play at a time, try to get back into it.
And we'll see what they do. With the ball at the 20-yard line, 1st and 10. Hilder hands it off. Cormier, big hole for him. Across the 40, across the 50, he may go. He's being run down by Ryan Ramey. It's a foot race, and they finally track him down at the 22-yard line. Ryan Ramey brings him down along with Alejandro Colbert. So if you needed a play to get your team going, I guess that would qualify right there.
No doubt. Great start. It's an understatement of the year, but great start there.
Did you notice they had a horse sound there?
I did hear that.
That's pretty clever.
I guess the LaMarcus Automated Mustangs play here, so they've got it all
well,
queued up.
Well, that makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Yeah. So they have it at the 23. Out of the pistol, Hilder hands it off straight ahead, giving the ball to Donovan Nixon, the senior playing his senior day game for the Bush Broncos. And I really felt like Donovan Nixon was probably going to get more of a role in the running game this year, but it was not to be. But it was great that he could come in and spell Cormier after that long run. So they get the ball to the 20 after a 2-yard pickup, 2nd and 8. Aaron Valentine, a sophomore playmaker, lined up on the right side of the formation. Jamon Cooley in motion. And there is a give, running around the edge. It's Nixon. He gets to the 10, down to the 9, and that'll be a 1st and goal for the Bush Broncos. Taylor Davis and Ryan Ramey make the tackle, but it's 1st and goal at the 9.
Yeah, number 44 for the Panthers, right defensive end, Dalton Plitt. His shoulder pad is completely turned up right now. So he's trying to, I think he's trying to tell the official, hey, watch for the hold there, but. No penalty. Got her on the edge. Good job by the Broncos.
I guess he's saying a hold is the only way my shoulder pad could end up like this. Out of the pistol, Cormier is back in the game, and they hand it to him. There he goes over the left side, pushing it near the 5-yard line, just short of that point. Whole bunch of Ridgepoint Panthers wrestling him down.
Here come two big off. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, two big dudes, right?
Yep.
77 and 53. Those are Anthony Lemon and Jaden Wright. So they're bringing in the beefiest assembly of players they can come up with. Second and goal at the 6.
Ridgepoint's so stout inside. I'm really curious to see if this pays off to try to go heavy and see if he can just muscle it in against the Panthers.
Might they bootleg it?
Definitely. That'd be a great call.
Now it's direct snap to Cormier. Tries to bounce outside, and he doesn't gain any yardage. And the guy who messed that up was Walker Aycock. He fired through, and Alan Aldridge III was attempting to block him, but he got enough penetration to make Cormier kind of reroute himself, and it's third and goal at the 6.
I wonder if Coach Aldridge is thinking right now this is 4-down territory, and he's going to go for it, for the touchdown on 4th down rather than kick the field goal if they get stopped here. You're down 21-0, 9 minutes left to go here in the third quarter. I'm very curious here see what his thought process is.
Hilder looking at the defense. They're heavy on the right side. And that's another snap directly to Cormier, makes a cut in the backfield, dives across the 5, gets down to the 2, and now it's 4th down and goal. Mason Hall and Dalton Plitt both make the tackle.
That makes the decision even harder now for the head coach. It would have been an easier decision if it was further back, but he looks like he's set to go for it.
Well, this may determine whether Bush has a chance to win this game. They're down 21-0. You score here, and you're in decent shape. But that's easier said than done. Again to Cormier, straight ahead, into the end zone. Touchdown, Broncos.
There's the whinnying
and there's
again
your horse.
Of the Mustang. But, no, I love Cormier's decision to try to – it was a direct snap. Instead of trying to mix it up inside, he kind of gave a little stutter step and then sprinted to the edge. I think that's the way you got to do it down to the goal line against the Panthers because they're really stout on the inside.
On comes Aiden Yeldon to kick the extra point. Low snap, but he gets the kick in the air. And by the way, I want to give some credit to Alan Aldridge III, who is the deep snapper on these kicks.
Yep.
So it's not often you see a guy who wears a single digit snapping the ball. So our new score, 21-7. Ridgepoint still leading. They will receive the kickoff when we return on VypeFortBend.com.
When everything works together, it's a beautiful thing. With Xfinity, you get Wi-Fi faster than a gig to power a house full of devices, so your home becomes a symphony of activity. We start with Dad streaming cooking videos in the kitchen. Add a little gaming in the basement. Gorgeous. Now let's bring in some working from the couch. And finally, the sweet melody of Grandpa streaming his nature shows. Can your internet do that? And there goes Grandpa.
Power a house full of connected devices. Learn more about Wi-Fi speed faster than a gig and other fast speed options. Get started with Xfinity Internet for $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year agreement. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and autopay. Ends 12/31/21. Restrictions apply. New Connect 50 megabits per second Internet customers only. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. After term, regular rates apply. Gig Wi-Fi requires gig Internet and Xfi Gateway. Actual speeds vary.
Aiden Yeldon just kicked the extra point that closed the gap to 21-7. And now the Bush Broncos kicking specialist will bombs away from the 40-yard line. Ridgepoint will receive, get the football for the first time in this second half. And it's kind of a low kick, and it's taken by one of the short men near the 35-yard line, outside the numbers on the 45-yard line, still going far sideline. This is going to be a big return all the way down inside the 30 as the ball went to Peyton Doucette, who probably didn't expect to get it, but he took it a long way. And what were you seeing?
I've just never seen a play quite like that before. The kick was just this bizarre, I don't know, kind of helicoptering kick that went right to a guy up there in the front, and Peyton Doucette. And I mean, I don't know, I just didn't see it developing like that. He had a great wall around the left side. He was able to get to the edge, and he even kind of lowered the boom a little bit there on the sideline and kind of stood over the tackler for a second there. So great job there by Peyton Doucette.
So 8:09 to go in this third quarter. Bush has just scored to close it to 21-7. Up the middle go the Ridgepoint Panthers. Mason Dossett carrying the ball straight ahead for 9 yards.
And there's confusion. I don't understand that. There's a defensive tackle running on, like jogging onto the field, after the first play after the kickoff, and as Ridgepoint's snapping the ball. So there's confusion there, and that's the kind of stuff you can't do when you're trying to fight back into a ball game down 14.
Sometimes you get fired up.
And there's a guy that just went down. I think he's pretending to be hurt.
Yeah.
He's totally just pretending to be hurt to get a timeout. It did it again.
I believe you. You're a coach. You know how the world works. We'll take a break and be back on VypeFortBend.com.
We see all you do to get work done, whether it's keeping your office clean or redesigning your space for 3 or 300. Our business is to keep business going. Buy online and pick up in store, or get free next business day shipping at Office Depot, Office Max, and OfficeDepot.com.
Archer Volkswagen showroom is open, and our team's excited to help you. Visit our sales department Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Or bring your car in for service from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, and Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. We're closed on Sundays to rest and recharge with our families, so we can serve you well through the week. We hope to see you soon.
The volleyball playoffs are opening. On Monday night, we'll have the Fulshire girls against an unnamed HISD opponent, and then on Tuesday, it's the Ridgepoint girls taking on Seven Lakes, starting at about 7 o'clock. Second down and 11 for Ridgepoint. B.J. Emanuel in the pocket. It collapses. He almost escaped, but goes down for a big loss. I actually said it was second and 11. It was second and 1. Sorry about that. And the sack made by the Bush Broncos' Chandler Davis. And now it's third and a long 8.
Yeah, I was pointing out, a Bush player had just, to me, obviously was faking injury to just get a timeout as there was confusion on who was in. And I was talking to one of the coaches up there, and he was saying that they're looking at a rules change where if you are to go down, you need to stay out for the entire drive to basically to verify that you are injured. So that's something to keep an eye out on.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. On third and a long 8, there's a pass intended for Marvin Session. He was hit hard as the ball arrived. It bounced off his hands. He's still down. I can't see who lit him up. It might have been Brandon Chambers because he's pounding his chest. And Session is face down. He's kind of wiggling his legs a little bit. Now they roll him over on his back, and hopefully he'll be okay. His cousin Gavin is a quarterback for Atascocita, but after the Panthers played their game here against George Ranch a couple of weeks ago, I asked Marvin if Gavin was okay. He said no, he tore his ACL. But last night I was watching High School Scoreboard Live, and they said that Gavin Session is still injured, but they didn't talk about him as if he was going to possibly return. So I hope Gavin can get back on the field, and I certainly hope that Marvin's all right. They are now lifting him to his feet, and he's running off. I think whatever he got, it was above the waist. There's nothing wrong with his legs, and he's going to have to go out for a play, but I think Marvin's going to be fine. So that was third down. It's going to be fourth down and still a long 8. Okay, well, Bush committed a penalty that involved Ridgepoint having an eligible receiver who had reported as eligible. So it's an automatic first down, and Ridgepoint ready to move it again. Emmanuel drops back, and he throws it sideline. Dossett got it on the run inside the 10, dives for the pylon, and he scored! Mason Dossett scores on a 20-yard touchdown pass, and Ridgepoint gets back the touchdown that they gave up earlier in the quarter to Bush.
Yeah, that was actually the guy that when I was talking to Jimmy Hammond at halftime, he actually brought the name Mason Dossett up. Who's just gotten a couple offers here very recently. So great job there. Sometimes a team like Bush is playing all the man-to-man coverage. A lot of times, like, the back gets lost in the man-to-man coverage. So when you have the back coming out of the backfield, there's confusion on who's got the back, and that's exactly what happened there.
Holden Gray to kick. I hope Austin Bowen's all right. Normally he kicks extra points. This time it's Holden Gray. It's up, and it's good. Our new score is 28-7 Ridgepoint. We'll be right back on VypeFortBend.com.
First Iron Automotive is passing out the treats for your vehicles the entire month of October. $25 off select AC Delco batteries, $50 off brake pad replacement, and $75 off 4 tires. Head to the website firstironauto.com and claim your savings. You don't even have to wear a costume to get these Halloween treats all month long. First Iron Automotive, a proud sponsor of Fort Bend Vype Sports. Make your appointments today at any of the 4 convenient locations in Sugar Land and Cinco Ranch. All 4 stores open on Saturday. firstironauto.com.
Hello fans, this is Bradley Stavanaugh with Needville Insurance. We know Fort Bend County. I'm a 4th generation resident of Fort Bend. I'm your local, hometown, trusted agent. With over 30 carriers and 9 auto insurance carriers, we shop the insurance for you. We know insurance is hard. We know it's complicated. We make it easy for you. We have Spanish speakers here available for you. Call us at 979-793-7411 or needvilleinsurance.com. Once again, call us 979-793-7411.
Holden Gray with a pop-up kick for Ridgepoint. Comes down at the 21-yard line to Hackworth, and he's loose down the far sideline. He's got one man beaten. That's Holden Gray, who misses the tackle. Hackworth keeps going, and it's all the way into the end zone for a touchdown. A 79-yard kickoff return for D'Antonio Hackworth. What a playmaker he is. And Bush really needed him to do something big, and he certainly did. He kind of got some momentum before the ball came down. He was already in 3rd gear, and off he went. Well, I guess you were talking about running past those blockers on kickoff returns.
Yeah, huge play there for Hackworth. They needed that one. I was just kind of watching. There was a little bit of a coach was kind of telling to a player, hey, that's not helping. There's a player that was just upset, and so you kind of feel the morale dropping on the sideline. And right as it's happening, Hackworth comes to the rescue, runs the kickoff back. And so I think you're just seeing this momentum just really ebb and flow in this ball game.
Yeldon's extra point kick is up and good. It's 28-14. 6:41 to go in the 3rd. We'll be back on VypeFortBend.com.
Hi, this is Mariela
and Melina coming to you from Nick's Italian Restaurant, where you can come and try one of our house specialties, the Nick's Shrimp, or one of our chicken pistachios. Not in the mood for food, you can also try one of our savory desserts like our homemade tiramisu or cannoli.
We're located on FM 1464, just north of Austin High School.
Can't dine in? You can call ahead at 346-401-1546 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Or you can hit us on one of the major delivery platforms, Uber, Grubhub, or DoorDash.
We look forward to seeing you here at Nick's Italian Restaurant, where our family gets bigger every time you stop by.
So the Bush Broncos are the home team today at this kind of neutral site, Traylor Stadium, Lamar Consolidated. And so everybody's excited on the home side right now after the D'Antonio Hackworth 79-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. And Kovo, I'm going to go kind of nuts on you. How about surprise onside right here?
It's very possible.
Here comes Yeldon. And he kicks it deep as usual, and it's Dossett from the 8-yard line, moving to his left. Has a blocker out in front. Sideline, gets across the 30, 35, and out near the 40. And I hope that Ezel Jolly is okay. So it's not been that unusual to see Dossett come into games, and Coach LaFavors has put him out there as the running back alongside B.J. Emanuel. But you always want to make sure that it's not because something's wrong with Jolly, and sure enough, there is Jolly out there with the offense to begin this drive. Ridgepoint wants to get the momentum back. B.J. Emanuel facing really a 2-man front as far as guys with their hands on the ground, and he hands it off to Jolly straight ahead, picks up 4, gets across the 40 to the 41. Getting up off the bottom of the pile, making the tackle, Bryce McDonald. Second down and a long 6. Charlo, Session, and Batiste are the wide receivers. That probably means that Carter Groen is the tight end on the left, but if so, he's covered up. No, they don't have a tight end in this formation. Phillips is the blocking back. Charlo in motion. Snap to Emmanuel, handoff to Jolly, straight ahead, hurdles a man at the line of scrimmage, and picks up 3 more to the 44-yard line, and that'll set up a 3rd down and 3. Bush prides itself on good run defense, and here's a huge opportunity to get off the field. Ridgepoint likes sometimes to play fast, Kovo, but it looks like they're more than happy to let the play clock tick down between plays. Marvin Session is back out there, so he's good to go. He had gone down with an injury before. And it's Emmanuel faking to Jolly, running around the right side, and he has the speed to pick up the 1st down near midfield. That's a 1st down. Think of First Tire and Automotive for all your car care needs. Check them out at firsttireandauto.com.
Great job pulling that football there. And that's what I was kind of talking about with the man-to-man coverage. There is a potential for him to get some really good gains there on the edge as the defenders are run off in the man-to-man coverage.
He scored a 4th quarter touchdown against George Ranch in this stadium a couple of weeks ago. I happened to be along the sideline. I heard him saying, "You're not fast enough. You're not fast enough," as he ran past the defender on a play just like that. 1st and 10 from the 48 of Bush. Play fake and a little swing pass out there to Charlo. Charlo to the 45, the 40. Makes a move. Still going inside the 30 down the far sideline. 1 man to beat. And Charlo goes all the way for a touchdown for Ridgepoint. 48 yards for Kieran Charlo, mobbed in the back of the end zone.
Love the play, slipping the running back out into the flat. And the thing, like I was saying, at the man-to-man coverage, it's really easy to run those defenders deep, just run them out of there, and open up a lot of space on the little screen play to the running back. So good job. Great job by Ridgepoint offensive coaching staff, just calling plays that are good man-beater type plays and putting the defensive Bush defense in a bind.
Did you say man-beater?
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard that expression.
Yeah, that's the term.
Can I use it? Do I have to pay you?
No, it's fine.
It's a good expression. Holden Gray's extra point kick is up and good. Ridgepoint matching Bush, touchdown for touchdown in this 3rd quarter. They lead it by 21 again, 35-14, and we shall return.
Hi, this is Mariela
and Melina coming to you from Nick's Italian Restaurant, where you can come and try one of our house specialties, the Nick's Shrimp, or one of our chicken pistachios. Not in the mood for food, you can also try one of our savory desserts like our homemade tiramisu or cannoli.
We're located on FM 1464, just north of Austin High School.
Can't dine in? You can call ahead at 346-401-1546 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Or you can hit us on one of the major delivery platforms, Uber, Grubhub, or DoorDash.
We look forward to seeing you here at Nick's Italian Restaurant, where our family gets bigger every time you stop by.
Ridgepoint just has so many ways that they can beat you, and you think about their coaching staff is probably thinking, okay, who do we have that hasn't gotten to make a play today? And they're anyone, a half a dozen guys who can outrun the defense. Gray with a short kickoff. It is Hackworth, and now it is another player who grabs it. Instead, it is Valentine, I believe. Let's see. I have this. I can't remember if it's Valentine who wears number 1 when it's blue or number 1 when it's white, but I think that was Valentine. Aaron Valentine. He's a sophomore quarterback, and Xfinity is the future of awesome, and we think the sophomore Aaron Valentine has an awesome future for the Bush Broncos. In fact, he might even be the quarterback next year. We shall see. Broncos down by 21 again. A little bit of a high snap, but a turnaround and a handoff to Cormier. Straight up the middle for 6. Cortez Nichols has been playing a very active game for Ridgepoint. He made the tackle, but in the wake of that play, one of the Bush Broncos is down. We'll take a break and be back. This is VypeFortBend.com. 4:46 to go in the third.
When everything works together, it's a beautiful thing. With Xfinity, you get Wi-Fi faster than a gig to power a house full of devices, so your home becomes a symphony of activity. We start with Dad streaming cooking videos in the kitchen. Add a little gaming in the basement. Gorgeous. Now let's bring in some working from the couch. And finally, the sweet melody of Grandpa streaming his nature shows. Can your internet do that? And there goes Grandpa.
Power a house full of connected devices. Learn more about Wi-Fi speed faster than a gig and other fast speed options. Get started with Xfinity Internet for $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year agreement. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and autopay. Ends 12/31/21. Restrictions apply. New Connect 50 megabits per second Internet customers only. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. After term, regular rates apply. Gig Wi-Fi requires Gig Internet and Xfi Gateway. Actual speeds vary.
The injured player was lineman Brock Boutte, and he made his way off the field without assistance, so hopefully he'll be okay. 2nd down and 4 for the Broncos. Hilder drops back, swings it out there to Cormier, trying to get around a defender, can't do it. And a whole bunch of Ridgepoint Panthers, half the defense, got right up in his kitchen. The guy who got there first was Terrence Howard. So where will they give him forward progress to? Oh. I don't know if you heard that, but that was Gary Godwin, our referee, roughing the passer on the Ridgepoint Panthers. Well. Did you see it?
I did not.
By the way, I think we have another one of those Nick's Italian Restaurant family connections. You got Brock Boutte, the offensive lineman who was just injured. I think there's another player on the team named Boutte. The penalty moves the ball to the 40-yard line. And here comes the pitch to Cooley, the little shovel pass forward. He came down outside the 45-yard line at the 46. The ball came out. But it was not a fumble. Cooley had gone down after a gain of 6 yards. Walker Aycock ended up on top of the football, but it had been blown dead. By the way, if you join us for our nightcap game, Clements against George Ranch, you'll have James Kovaleski's visit with Jimmy Hammond, the head coach of Seven Lakes, which will be Ridgepoint's playoff opponent in the first round, it looks like. Here's a give to Cormier, and he can't get out of the backfield. Taylor Davis in there again. He's a bad man.
Yeah, he's excellent. What's the equivalent of a 5-tool player in baseball?
Yeah, I would say so. And he's a junior, Kovo. We'll be describing his athletic achievements for another year. How about that?
It's awesome.
So Bush really needing a first down conversion here, although it's probably 4-down territory. 3rd down and 6 from their own 44. Hilder stands strong, throws, and the pass is caught. No, the ball came out. Incomplete. Trying to get the ball to Aaron Valentine, I think. So it's 4th and 6, and I'm kind of surprised to see them sending out the punting unit. Devin Moore is doing the punting now because it looks like Aduna was injured on one of those earlier plays. Taylor Davis in not so deep safety in case it's a short punt, and if it's really deep, then Marvin Session will bring it back. Moore punts it away, and that's a beauty. Session takes it at the 16, heads to his left, gets a block, gets across the 25, near the sideline. A flag comes down in the wake of the play. This will probably be backed up. If the play stands, it's at the 38-yard line, but I don't think it's going to. So are you in a position, Kovo, to kind of let people know, tease them a little bit about the Countdown to Kickoff show as you visit with Coach Hammond?
Yeah, no, we meet Seven Lakes Spartans coming off a big win last night, 50-10 over Made Creek, and so we spoke about that a little bit and how big of how big that was for his program to kind of lock in their portion of the playoffs. They're set. That they will. They will be in there kind of waiting to see whether it's going to be Ridgepoint or Travis in the final week of our schedule to determine who they're going to play. So that's able to kind of lift a little bit of that uncertainty and burden off of them and let them just focus on getting better, each and every single day of practice. So that was one of the main things that we talked about, and also just how he's, still looks back fondly on his time spent at Ridgepoint for sure.
Here's a give off the left side, and Ridgepoint gives the ball to a new running back, Zarek Earls. Slants over the left side and picks up 5. And a lot of people, Kovo, know this, but for those who don't, the size of your enrollment when the UIL takes a snapshot measurement is the reason you go into Division I or Division II in the playoffs. Tompkins, with over 4,000 kids, has the biggest enrollment of all the Katy ISD Class 6A schools. So they will play Travis in round 1. And that means that Seven Lakes, which has the second biggest enrollment, will take on the Panthers in week 1 of the playoffs. There goes Zarek Earls up the middle, and he fumbled it. It's a scoop up by the Bush Broncos. The Broncos take over. Henry Tatum scoops up the ball. Zarek Earls coughed it up, and he's whacking himself on either side of his helmet. Very upset with himself for letting that ball get out of his hands, and what an opportunity for Bush. With 2 minutes to go in the third, they're down by 21, but if you score quickly and your defense can get a stop, then the game can get interesting.
Yeah, and it's still pending if Travis were to be able to beat Ridgepoint. That could flip, but I mean, assuming things hold pat and Ridgepoint continues on, and they would, yes, you're right, they get Seven Lakes.
But, yeah, that's true. The matchups would change. It's still going to be Ridgepoint and Travis in the Division I playoffs.
Right.
So you are correct if Travis beats Ridgepoint next week. Trash-talking cheerleaders say that won't happen. There goes Cormier taking the direct snap. They're running the Wildcat. He slants off the right side and picks up 4. Terrence Howard and Mason Hall combining to make the stop. As we get down close to the minute-and-a-half mark in the third quarter. So Bush's Henry Tatum scooped up the fumble. He was trying to run it all the way in, but they knocked him down at the 17 of Ridgepoint. And here we go with the second play of the drive.
They got a defensive lineman in the
backfield. They got a big dude in the backfield trying to escort Cormier, and there goes Cormier fighting inside the 5, gets down to the 1. What an amazing run. Cormier wants it bad. They mark him down at the 2. It's 1st and goal from right there. And Bush playing a little faster than they normally do. And I think that's the punting specialist, Devin Moore, who is the personal bodyguard of Adrian Cormier. Up the middle, straight ahead goes Cormier into the end zone. Touchdown! The Broncos will not go away. And by the way, Kovo, that is an Archer Volkswagen touchdown scoring drive. It covers 17 yards in 3 plays, and they took 1 minute and 13 seconds off the clock, and now Aiden Yeldon will try to add the extra point and make it a 35-21 game. Devin Moore right through the hole to just pick up any trash if there was any left, and Ridgepoint didn't have anything that could stop Adrian Cormier on that play. Yeldon is ready. Good snap and hold. Kick is good. 35-21, 47 seconds left in the third. We'll be back.
Archer Volkswagen showroom is open, and our team's excited to help you. Visit our sales department Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Or bring your car in for service from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, and Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. We're closed on Sundays to rest and recharge with our families, so we can serve you well through the week. We hope to see you soon.
We take care of you, so you can take care of business. Office Depot Office Max. Taking care of business.
So Bush is hanging in there, down by 14, 47 seconds left in the third quarter. And I'll bet you're impressed with what Bush has done here, Kovo. They
Very
just
much so.
keep fighting.
Yeah, great effort. Some of that camaraderie that you talked about in the senior night and pregame, I mean, you're definitely seeing it shine through here.
Yeldon kicks it deep. Only one man is back there, and it is Session from the 8. Between the hash marks, no, it's Charlo, actually. Far sideline, gets across the 30, and he's hit hard. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Ridgepoint looking for a flag over there, but it looked to me like the Bush player who hit him, it looked like he and Charlo were both in bounds.
Looked clean to me.
I may be wrong, but because that's a long way over there, but it just looked like it was okay.
Coach Lefevre is upset.
Yeah, he wanted 15 on that one.
Man, the Bush defenders, I mean, a lot of them, they have some guys that we've seen a couple big hits. Just really physical and just great defensive play. I mean, from our vantage point, it looked clean. I know Rick Lefevre has a closer vantage point than we do, so maybe he saw something that we couldn't see.
You know something? I think they're ruling that Charlo stepped out at the 28, so when he kept going. Yeah, he kept going. The play was over, and they give it to Jolly. So he comes in. The last possession for Ridgepoint ended with a Zarek Earls fumble, and so they're going to bring back in the veteran, Ezel Jolly, and he carries for 7 yards on first down, takes it out to the 34, and B.J. Emanuel is pointing at the play clock or the game clock or something.
Yeah, they're going to take they're going to end the quarter here. Man, it's a long third quarter.
It really was.
A lot happened this quarter.
And it wasn't because of a whole bunch of injury interruptions. There were 2, but they weren't those interruptions that just go on for minutes. And by the way, a minute means a minute. When I say a minute, I mean 60 seconds or pretty close to it. Have you ever noticed how people keep saying, we haven't been to that restaurant in a minute, and they mean a decade, and it's kind of annoying to me. Anyway, that's my public service announcement. We'll be back with the fourth quarter, 35-21 Ridgepoint.
Hi, this is Mariela
and Melina coming to you from Nick's Italian Restaurant, where you can come and try one of our house specialties, the Nick's Shrimp, or one of our chicken pistachios. Not in the mood for food, you can also try one of our savory desserts like our homemade tiramisu or cannoli.
We're located on FM 1464, just north of Austin High School.
Can't dine in? You can call ahead at 346-401-1546 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Or you can hit us on one of the major delivery platforms, Uber, Grubhub, or DoorDash.
We look forward to seeing you here at Nick's Italian Restaurant, where our family gets bigger every time you stop by.
We start the fourth quarter. B.J. Emanuel is going to throw it down the near sideline for Wilson Batiste, and what a catch at the 37-yard line. Oh, he went full out. He had one step on D'Antonio Hackworth. It was a perfect throw by B.J. Emanuel and a touchdown.
What?
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Thank you, Kovo. I don't know.
I don't want to confuse the audience.
I was thinking about something else, and my mouth said, I can't believe I said that. I've made a lot of mistakes, but never one just like that. Up the middle they go with Jolly. Goes head over heels as he picks up 5. Thank you for – next time I do that, don't just say something. Elbow me hard.
I will do.
That was wow. Yeah, and in high school, if you dive and make a catch, you're down.
Correct.
By the way, you ever look at some of those really old NFL films from maybe early 50s? You used to have to hold the guy down. And you'll see sometimes a guy will fall down and he will have been touched, but he gets up and runs because you used to have to hold the ball carrier down. On first down is Emmanuel, hit as he throws, outside shoulder looking for Bro, incomplete near the 5-yard line. Bro was expecting it over the inside shoulder, kind of had to twist, couldn't quite locate it, and the ball wasn't right on target anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I might have made yet another mistake. If I said second down before that play, well, I might have said first down. But right now it's 3rd and 5.
Like I said, it is a bright, hot, sunny day here. So
maybe that's the problem.
Maybe suffering from dehydration. We are outside, so
it's burning my brain. The bright sunlight.
We just got to get you an IV and get you ready for the nightcap tonight, so we can make it through.
Yeah, I'll have to ride in an ambulance. And there goes B.J. Emanuel faking the handoff to no one. Goes down the near sidelines. Got a first down and more inside the 20. So the Panthers are now in the red zone.
So that's a problem I've seen just out of their defense is the edges are a little susceptible. Sometimes you're playing all that man coverage, guys get run off, and it's just, aggressive defense, sometimes you can lose your edge. Lose the flank. And I'm not talking about like the edge, like the eye of the tiger in Rocky or anything, but the literal edge of your defense can be susceptible.
Rock, you lost your edge. Yeah, I know what you mean. And another thing, I grew up being told you really need to make a convincing fake. Sometimes it's safer with those jet sweeps and things not to put the ball too close to the running back. You might knock it out of the hand if you're the quarterback. Straight up the middle with Ezell Jolly, but there is beautiful defense by the Bush Broncos. Brandon Chambers, Cozy Okorafor, and it's a loss of 1. 2nd and 11 for Ridgepoint. They have it at the Bush 19. We just started the third quarter. We're in the 2nd minute of the third quarter. And it's really just been an even race in the second half. Every time Bush gets a touchdown, Ridgepoint gets one to match it. And now we're back to the 14-point game. Emmanuel drops straight back, flushed over to the right, fakes. Now he's going to run far sideline, and Hackworth trips him up, limits him to a gain of about 5. And I think Coach LeFavors, does it appear to you he's kind of pointing and saying, you had a receiver open down there? Is that what he's saying to BJ?
I didn't see what Coach LeFavors was saying. I mean, I just think that could potentially be true, but that's a lot to ask, as he's already eluding a rusher. I have no problem with what Emmanuel did there.
By the way, Hackworth was the one who kind of dived and grabbed Emmanuel's legs, knocked him out of bounds, but Hackworth is down. And we'll take a break and be back with 10:07 to go. It's 35-21 Ridgepoint, and they're looking for more.
Hello fans, this is Bradley Stavanaugh with Needville Insurance. We know Fort Bend County. I'm a 4th generation resident of Fort Bend. I'm your local, hometown, trusted agent. With over 30 carriers and 9 auto insurance carriers, we shop the insurance for you. We know insurance is hard. We know it's complicated. We make it easy for you. We have Spanish speakers here available for you. Call us at 979-793-7411 or needvilleinsurance.com. Once again, call us 979-793-7411.
Big play coming up here, 3rd down and 8 for Ridgepoint, and the last thing Bush wants missing in their secondary is D'Antonio Hackworth, and looks like he'll be okay. He's limping very slightly, but he's not available on this big down and distance situation. Ridgepoint also has Holden Gray ready to kick a field goal if they can't convert this one here. 3 wide receivers on the left side, fake to Jolly. Emmanuel throwing for Bro, reaching for it near the back of the end zone, and it's just out of his reach. Incomplete, 4th and 8. And if they try a field goal from right where they are, Kovo, it'll be a 32-yarder on the right hash. Did you ever get to know kickers when you were a player?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sometimes position players, they don't even talk to the kickers.
No, that was I was just going to say Clint Wren was our kicker in college. He's one of my good friends. We used to go play NCAA football video games together all the time in the dorms.
I guess the
kickers are people too, Roger.
Yes, they are. And that's kind of the equalizer when you can play a video game. Well, Ridgepoint's going to go for it on 4th and 8. They send Session in motion, but before the snap, we have a timeout, and it's taken. Is it taken by Bush? Well, Coach Gary Godwin, the ref, didn't point one way or the other, and he didn't. He turned his mic off before he said who called the timeout. We'll take a quick one. We'll be back on VypeFortBend.com.
First Iron Automotive is passing out the treats for your vehicles the entire month of October. $25 off select AC Delco batteries, $50 off brake pad replacement, and $75 off 4 tires. Head to the website firstironauto.com and claim your savings. You don't even have to wear a costume to get these Halloween treats all month long. First Iron Automotive, a proud sponsor of Fort Bend Vype Sports. Make your appointments today at any of the 4 convenient locations in Sugar Land and Cinco Ranch. All 4 stores open on Saturday. firstironauto.com.
We see all you do to get work done, whether it's keeping your office clean or redesigning your space for 3 or 300. Our business is to keep business going. Buy online and pick up in store, or get free next business day shipping at Office Depot, Office Max, and OfficeDepot.com.
All right, Bush took the timeout. Now Ridgepoint lines up again at the Bush 15-yard line on a 4th and 8. Emmanuel rolling to his left, looking down the middle of the field. Now he escapes to the right, far sideline. He's going to have the first down and more, and makes the business decision to step out of bounds near the 5-yard line. Hackworth was going to be there, and the 2 players are probably having a short conversation as they go back to their respective huddles. But it's 1st and goal for Ridgepoint. They mark Emmanuel at the 4.
Man, having a quarterback that can be a threat with his legs is just such a great element to add to your offense. And man, I'm always been impressed with Bert Emanuel Jr. and he's delivering tonight.
So frustrating if you're a defensive lineman, especially on a warm day like this. You're chasing him around all day. Give to Jolly, hit in the backfield, fights his way back to the line of scrimmage. Brandon Chambers got all up in his business right as he got the football. And it is a no gain, 2nd and goal from the 4. You know, as a defense, you can basically do everything right. You have all the receivers covered. You flush the quarterback, but you can end up getting burned anyway when you got a quarterback who can move as well as Emmanuel.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, I think it was last week's Countdown to Kickoff show, Coach LeFavors just said, I'm just glad he's a Ridgepoint Panther. You wouldn't want him on the opposition. There goes Jolly up the middle, fighting, goal line, end zone, touchdown.
And the handoff to number 2, Ezell Jolly is in for...
I wonder if Ezell Jolly is any relation to Jordan Jolly. That was a star receiver Elkins had many years ago.
Well, you know, it's the Missouri City connection. There you go.
Same part of town, so definitely is a possibility.
Let's just assume that they're somehow related. That is the Nick's Italian Restaurant family connection. Remember, Nick's Italian Restaurant on FM 1464 in Sugar Land, just a little bit north of Austin High School. Their family gets bigger every time you stop by. Holden Gray ready to kick. Carson Gordon to hold. Gordon gets it down, and it's a thing of beauty, a rainbow above the end zone on a cloudless day. 8:44 to go, and Ridgepoint is up by 21 again, 42-21. We'll be back.
When everything works together, it's a beautiful thing. With Xfinity, you get Wi-Fi faster than a gig to power a house full of devices, so your home becomes a symphony of activity. We start with Dad's streaming cooking videos in the kitchen. Add a little gaming in the basement. Gorgeous. Now let's bring in some working from the couch. And finally, the sweet melody of Grandpa streaming his nature shows. Can your internet do that? And there goes Grandpa.
Power a house full of connected devices. Learn more about Wi-Fi speed faster than a gig and other fast speed options. Get started with Xfinity Internet for $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year agreement. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and autopay. Ends 12/31/21. Restrictions apply. New Connect 50 megabits per second Internet customers only. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. After term, regular rates apply. Gig Wi-Fi requires Gig Internet and X-Fi Gateway. Actual speeds vary.
We're ready for another Ridge Point kickoff, and Ridge Point, Covo, they score 43 points a game, and they're already at 42. We still have 8:44 left. Angling a little bit over toward the right side, and it's Hackworth to return it, running laterally near the 20. Encounters a tackler, but gets 11 yards after that, and moves it to the 31. Pretty good return for Hackworth, and you see so many teams that will avoid a dangerous kick returner, but Ridge Point appears to be kicking it right at Hackworth and says, go ahead.
That's
See
true.
what you got.
That's a great point, Roger. I was kind of thinking the same thing, but they believe in their kickoff coverage team, and it's almost like maybe they think someone like Hackworth, because of his ability, will try to do a little bit extra. Maybe they can get a strip or something of that nature, but yeah, they're definitely going right at him.
I thought of something else that I want to ask you about. Kind of an unusual tactic on punt returns. Hilder takes a quick snap and throws it into the flat. Nice positive yardage. Delivers the ball to Donovan Nixon, who is lined up wide, and he picks up 7 on the play. So last night's game, you had Travis taking on Elkins. Hold that thought. Out of the pistol, there goes Cormier running left. Gets a first down at the 41-yard line of Bush.
You know how I knew that was going to be a run? I saw the quarterback, number 7, Tyler Hilder. He put his hands behind his back, and he pointed the direction to the running back, which way they were going.
Well, there you go.
First down, Broncos.
By the way, there was a famous Monday night football game back in the 70s when the Redskins beat the Cowboys 9-5. And the Cowboys were tipping their plays. I'll explain in a moment. First down and 10, empty backfield. Hilder looks short, now flushed, now he's sacked.
There was confusion on that play.
Yeah, he was probably looking for a receiver, expected to find one somewhere downfield who wasn't there.
Yeah, I saw he basically gave a shoulder fake, like trying to set up a double move, but I think where he was looking, it looked like the receiver was blocking. So there's just all kinds of confusion on that one.
Cameron Richardson was the one who got him for the 6-yard sack. And in that long ago Monday Night Football game, Robert Newhouse, this is before the Cowboys had Tony Dorsett, he would leave his mouthpiece in. It had one of those mouthpieces that covers the front of your mouth.
Like Michael Irvin.
He would leave it in. Yeah, like Michael Irvin's. He would leave it in on a running play. If it was out, it was on a passing play. The Redskins at least partially knew what was coming. Broncos run it on 2nd and 16 and only gain 3 with Cormier.
Cormier on the carry.
So Travis, I've noticed, when Elkins would line up, let's say they were on the near hash mark about to punt the football, Travis would put its punt returner on the opposite hash mark. Normally, doesn't the punt returner basically stand wherever the ball is? The line formed by the punt returner and the football would be parallel to the sidelines.
Sure.
But for whatever reason, they were putting Dominic Njoku over on the opposite hash mark.
It is interesting.
I can ask Coach Sissom that.
That's a great question.
Hilder drops back. They give him plenty of time now, but into double cover. Aycock, the interception for Ridge Point, near his 30, gets into Bush territory, near sideline. A flag comes in. He's still going, and Walker Aycock is going to go all the way for a pick 6, except I don't think it's going to count because there's a flag near midfield.
Well, I want to recognize Adrian Cormier for actually chasing that play down all the way, but the receiver that pass is intended for just completely did not even give the effort to try to chase down that play. And, I mean, maybe had he started sprinting from the beginning, he could have – it's going to be nullified by penalty. But, I've noticed a couple times like that of guys quitting on plays. And that's the thing, Bush is a playoff team. They're going to have to play in the playoffs. You cannot do those kinds of things and win playoff games. So I think that'll come up on film, and Coach Aldridge will see it and definitely address it.
Okay, so it's an illegal block in the back on Ridgepoint after Aycock made the interception. So it will be Panther football. But just, sorry, Walker Aycock, you don't get your pick six. And by the way, speaking of the pick six department, you got Taylor Davis, 4 picks on the year, tied with Hackworth for the lead in interceptions in District 26A. But Taylor Davis can say he has returned 2 for touchdown. And one of them happened in this stadium. He intercepted Cole Murphy of George Ranch down at the end to our right in a 109-yard pick six return. The Ridgepoint Pack went wild, as you can imagine. You're familiar with the Pack.
Mm-hmm.
They have created a new demand for baby powder, although they don't use it as often as they once did. Straight up the middle, Mason Dossett carries, tripped up by Okorafor in the backfield, just gets back to the line of scrimmage, which is the 35. Second down and 10 for Ridgepoint, and they've got enough points. They just want a spin clock. We've got less than 5.5 minutes to go.
Yeah, Cozy Okorafor was almost offsides on that. He just does such a great job of timing up the snap. I mean, he was in the backfield like a bolt of lightning, so just awesome play by him. Just that's not easy to do, to time that up so perfectly.
By the way, see those ladies walking behind the end zone? Dina Scott and Nikki Nelson. Dina Scott, the athletic director for Fort Bend, and Nikki Nelson, the athletic director for Lamar Consolidated. We appreciate all their help with today's game. There goes Dossett bouncing around the left side, and a nice run into Bush territory. Took on Hackworth at the end, and lets Hackworth know that it's a first down. That's a first down. Think of First Tire and Automotive for all your car care needs. Check them out at firsttireandauto.com.
And I can't remember the school when Jimmy and I were looking at it, is where Dossett's getting these offers. But that's the thing. Like, the backup running back is a scholarship level player, and that's the thing with Ridgepoint. It's so impressive. Now,
maybe part of it is that he also plays baseball. He might be wanting to go somewhere and play 2 sports. And he is, by the way, Kovo, a sophomore.
Wow.
But in today's world, you know, Dossett can finish school early, and with the NIL, he can get in there sooner rather than later. Emmanuel, a little bit of a quarterback draw, but he's blown up by Devin Moore, and they're having to help BJ to his feet. He'll be okay, but I'll bet Coach LeFavor's heart jumped into his throat there. You see your prize quarterback getting blasted by a guy who's 300 angry pounds or so. He actually lost a yard. 2nd and 11, clock at 4:20 and ticking. Blitz look, here comes Chambers up the middle. Fake to Dossett, keeper by Emmanuel. Near the sideline, goes out of bounds. And he picked up 5, got to the 44.
Just, you know, I talk about the size of some of the skill kids at Ridgepoint. Look at Bert Emmanuel Jr. I mean, he's a big kid.
He really is. He's way taller than Dad.
He really is. I mean, it honestly, it looks like you're watching. I know it is Saturday, but it looks like you're watching a Saturday afternoon college football game, and there's just a college player inserted into this high school game. You know.
By the way, BJ's hairstyle is very popular. We have to our right a videographer for Ridgepoint, kind of wears his hair the same way as BJ. Dossett stiff arms a man in the backfield. All he can do is get back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, that's going to bring up 4th down. So, I mean, it's a little bit of decision for Coach LeFavors. You could punt it away and pin them. I think they're going to go for it because they're across the 50. And, you know, I was thinking, like, you could just hand the ball off inside because now you're up 21. It's under 4 minutes to go. Maybe you just want to get out of the game. But this is actually valuable practice time, you know, to work against a high-caliber defense in a pressure situation, to work on your – as if you're trying to score. And I know that Ridgepoint has higher aspirations than just making the playoffs, right? So this is great practice for them.
Emmanuel, high snap, has to go back and get it. Throws far sideline, looking for Session. Trying to make a one-handed catch, and he does, and a flag comes in. It's going to be defensive pass interference, and he makes the catch anyway. A highlight reel catch by Marvin Session at the 5-yard line.
That's not quite getting like mossed, because you got to go up over somebody to get onto the show, but like Coach LeFavors may want to turn that play in to ESPN. That could make some national attention. That was, as you're being interfered with, a one-handed over-the-shoulder catch. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, and poor Paul Omodia, his defense actually wasn't that bad, but BJ threw it kind of over his outside shoulder where only Session could reach it.
That's a great point. I'm fawning over the catch, but the throw was awesome too. I mean, this is a perfect combination of both.
Ball now be at the 5-yard line, be 1st and goal for the Panthers.
1st and goal, and they'll try to get to 49 points here. There goes Dawson. He fumbled it into the end zone. Bug on the rug, and the Broncos recover in the end zone. So 2 fumbles by Ridgepoint running backs this afternoon, and yet they still have scored 42 points. Their 7th touchdown.
Oh, it might be offsides.
Offsides? Oh, that'll be a real.
That's a killer.
That'll just.
We'll see. I'll make it. Wow.
False start, which means the play doesn't count.
Offsides. They call it offsides.
I thought he said false start.
Nah, it's offsides.
Okay. Either way, the play goes over.
Yeah, that's just so. Oh, that's huge.
And I didn't see jumping, so probably just someone lined up offside.
Very well could be. Yeah, I didn't see it either, but just that was the official's ruling. And that's a gut punch when your defense did another great job to get a stop.
1st and goal at the 2.5-yard line. Emmanuel wants to throw. Back corner of the end zone. Session, touchdown. So that makes it 48-21. Well, the Travis Tigers are a quality football team, but they have their work cut out for them next week against the Panthers. And there were several conditions you talked about early that might have been a reason why Ridgepoint could be overconfident, perhaps looking ahead. But they took care of business today. They exceeded their average number of points scored in a game, which is 43, and they're about to make it 49. And Bush gave them a really good game, but they still scored more than twice as many points as the Broncos. Holden Gray, extra point kick, up and good.
Nice catch by the Ridgepoint ball boy there.
And, I don't know that kid, but one time during one of the games at Hall Stadium, I mistook him for Mr. Gaines. Ricardo Gaines.
Because they dress the same way? They all wear purple polo?
He's always got the purple polo.
Yeah.
And one time he did me a favor, and I said, I want to get you a beverage of some kind, and he wanted the purple Powerade.
Mr. Gaines?
Yes. Had to be the purple.
Well, he's Mr. Panther. I mean, he's been there from the beginning. I know you're the voice of Fort Bend ISD football, but we used to call him the voice of Ridgepoint because he at the games at the school, he'll do the public address.
Yeah.
And does a great job of it. He's constantly tweeting the updates of the games, on Twitter. So he's a huge asset to the school. Just a great guy. Played football at Oklahoma. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that.
Sooner. So
how about that?
Yeah.
I would. Next time I see him, I'll ask him some of the more famous Sooners that he played with.
Oh yeah.
Holden Gray, who's been doing nearly all of the kicking today. And he sends it to Hackworth, and it goes through Hackworth's hands into the end zone. He does not need to return it, but he thinks he does. No, he is he is wise enough to know he needed to take a knee. And as he did, he had started acting like he was going to bring it back, and one of the Panthers kind of knocked him down right as his knee was contacting the turf. What did Gary Godwin, our referee, say?
Couldn't. Unintelligible.
The ball will be 20 first down.
Okay, I think that means that by the rules that have pretty much been implemented at every level of football, if a kickoff goes into the end zone, if it's the impetus of the kick that puts it there, even if it touches somebody's hands, it's a touchback right away.
Yeah, I was looking for some clarity on that one. And also, he knelt it, and a Ridgepoint defender still contacted him. So that's one thing maybe if we talk to the crew before the Clements game tonight, just get their take on it. Because we always say there's so many questions I want to ask officials, and I forget what questions I have. But that's one. There's one right there.
We need to have a little notepad, questions for officials. We should write them down. But I think of a good question. You think of a good question. We just forget about it. So the ball is at the 25 after the touchback. Fake to Cooley, give to Cormier, popping through. Gets 9 yards out to the 34-yard line. He is still running hard. And a Panther is down.
Man, does it feel like it's a 28-point ball game?
No,
You know?
it has seemed much, much closer than that for sure.
There was a portion in the game where Bush really was starting to get some momentum. It felt like they might try to, be able to get back into the game. But you got to credit Ridgepoint. They never just sat on a lead. They kept the pedal to the metal. They kept scoring big plays, and that's going to definitely come in handy for them, that mentality as they go advance in the playoffs.
Well, Kovo, we got to take a break. We're behind on a couple of things, so we'll step aside and we'll be back. Hopefully the injured player will be on his feet and off the field.
First Iron Automotive is passing out the treats for your vehicles the entire month of October. $25 off select AC Delco batteries, $50 off brake pad replacement, and $75 off 4 tires. Head to the website firstironauto.com and claim your savings. You don't even have to wear a costume to get these Halloween treats all month long. First Iron Automotive, a proud sponsor of Fort Bend Vype Sports. Make your appointments today at any of the 4 convenient locations in Sugar Land and Cinco Ranch. All 4 stores open on Saturday. firstironauto.com.
Okay, I don't want to start a panic among Ridgepoint Panther fans. We have good news and bad news. The good news is the player is on his feet and walking off the field. The bad news is it's Taylor Davis. You want him 100% healthy in as much as you can be 100% healthy going into Week 11 as you take on the Travis Tigers. Hilder drops back. Throws, and it's almost intercepted. Wally almost had himself a pick 6. It was a pass into the right flat intended for Jamon Cooley. That's another Nick's Italian Restaurant family connection. Jamon Cooley's big brother was on the Broncos varsity a couple of years ago. So remember, Nick's Italian Restaurant in Sugar Land on FM 1464, just north of Austin High School. Their family gets bigger every time you stop by. Second down and 10, and we have 2:38 left in the game. Ridgepoint has it well in hand, leading 49-21. They're going to improve to 6-0 in district play. Here goes Cormier running off the right side, still running hard. 6 yards, took on a tackler and knocked that tackler back. And that tackler was Peyton Doucette.
He's had a good game.
Yeah,
he had that nice kick return and
been very, very active.
I used to feel this way when I was coaching at Ridgepoint. My second teamers on defense, they would start at most other schools in our, across districts in the city of Houston. You know what I mean? Like, you can just see that here. There's not a huge drop off. Like, there's still talented guys as they get some of these younger kids or reserves into the game here late.
Yeah, next man up. It's easier to do at certain schools than others, and Ridgepoint usually has a really good next man up. There is a give to Cormier. He gets across midfield and keeps on going to the 47 of Ridgepoint. The clock gets under 2 minutes. We're at 1:49. It stops as they move the sticks. That's a first down. Think of First Tire and Automotive for all your car care needs. Check them out at firstironauto.com.
And really, there's really a lot of starters still out there. I guess there's just been a couple subs due to injury or whatnot.
Hilder claps his hands together, gives it off, and there's a flag in the backfield. I have no idea what it is, although, yeah, you see a Bush lineman.
They held number 45, Cameron Richardson.
Yeah, Giancarlo Riveros was doing everything he could, legally or otherwise, to keep his man clean. His man being the quarterback, Hilder, who handed it off. So, by the way, Kovo, nothing against George Ranch. You know, they're not part of the Fort Bend ISD family or the Vype FortBend.com regular rotation broadcast family. Nothing against George Ranch. But it's been a long time since I have wanted a team to win a game as bad as I want Clements to win tonight. I really want them to get that playoff spot. Hilder throws on the slant, and behind his receiver and incomplete. Raheem Mercurius was a little bit open, but it was a little bit behind him, and there you go. Incomplete pass stops the clock with 1:19 to go. I mean, I know you have to feel the same way with your friendship with Coach Bobby Darnell. And they've had the adversity of losing Micah Darnell, his son, who started, I guess, the first 6 games, broke his collarbone. But they have it all in front of them. If they win tonight over George Ranch, they will be a playoff qualifier. And there's a run off the left side, hard running from Donovan Nixon.
Yeah, Roger, I apologize if kind of in the middle parts of the game I was a little distant and distracted. I was feverishly getting updates from my wife about the Michigan game, which we blew a fourth quarter lead, and Michigan State stormed back and won that football game. So.
Oh, you've got to be very upset now.
I'm a little out of it right now, but trying to get over it.
They're down 11. There goes Nixon, and he has blasted Mason Hall, the brick wall.
I like that, Hall the brick wall. Now,
and I just came up with it kind of totally. I was freestyling is what I was doing there.
I had thought of Donovan. I'm not a crook Nixon earlier when you said one of those, but I really am a big fan of Mason Hall. I like inside linebackers like that are rugged and strong enough to. He's athletic. He goes sideline to sideline, but he's also big enough to just step up in the hole and thud up on a running back and stuff him at the line, you know?
Yeah.
When Hall makes a tackle, it's not one of those tackles where the guy's fighting forward for a yard, 2-3 yards. He kind of fits you up, and that's where it ends.
Well, speaking of where it ends, this game ends right here. Bush did not need to run another play, and they will say it's 49-21. Congratulations, Ridgepoint. You are the victors. The two teams walk up to the hash marks and wave goodbye, and they could say, we'll see you in the playoffs, but they won't see each other because Bush will play in the Division II playoffs and Ridgepoint will be at the Division I level because of the enrollment disparity. And we got Taylor Davis and Cormier. Looked like they wanted to come together and give each other a hug.
Coach Aldridge said no. I mean, it's COVID protocols, but it's just kind of funny. They told them no, and then the two coaches immediately hugged.
But look at Coach Aldridge. He's hugging all the Ridgepoint players.
Yeah.
You gotta, if you say you can't do this, well, you shouldn't be doing that yourself, whatever that is.
It's kind of funny. I think it's just one of those kind of – I think that these players, after just physically pounding into each other for the past 48 minutes, I think a handshake might – I totally understand the idea behind it, and I just think the players are ready to kind of return to that normal where they can kind of – just to me, the sportsmanship was great in this game. It's two really good teams. It's an intense physical game, but I saw a lot of I saw guys even after they were beat, shaking hands, high five, and I think these two teams have earned each other's respect. So cleanly played game. Man, I was wrong. The only Ridgepoint game I had seen so far was Elkins, which was a little bit more of an inferior opponent, and it got called early, so we didn't get to see a lot of separation. But I was like, Elkins hanging around with I really think Bush can make it a ball game. But I guess I've never seen Ridgepoint when they're challenged. And when they got challenged a little bit, they punch right back.
Yeah, they sure do. And if you were to look at this game as only the second half, then Ridgepoint wins by 7 because they have a 28-point margin at the end, and they were up 21-0 at halftime. So if you just took the third and fourth quarters as a game, Bush really did play very, very close to what Ridgepoint was throwing down. So looking forward to the second part of tonight's doubleheader. I know we'll talk about it a lot when we get to Hall Stadium and start the game between Clements and George Ranch. I have this feeling I don't know. I'm worried about Clements, but on the other hand, I'm thinking, okay, George Ranch is 3-2 in district games, but their last win that they finished on Monday against Bush was a gift. They were given a poorly thrown pass on a pick six. They just went in and scored, and there was another spread formation snap where Tyler Hilder didn't know the ball was coming. It went past him. It was recovered at the 2. And so I don't know that Clements needs to think there's something less than George Ranch tonight.
No, I think there's something to be said to that. Like, watching George Ranch and Bush, I feel like Bush is physically more superior over George Ranch. I think George Ranch is just with that playoff pedigree and then it comes to experience, they just played a little cleaner. Perhaps Clemens is kind of that mixture where, Clemens is they're getting much more talented, but I think their talent level probably doesn't stack up to Bush right now. But they are very well coached under Coach Darnell. So maybe they are just kind of that mixture where you're right. Maybe they are right in that same tier as teams like George Ranch and Bush who played each other in a close game. So perhaps Clemens can do it. Clemens is actually one of those teams, ironically, as good of friends I am with Coach Darnell and Coach Ruthart, the offensive coordinator, I have not seen Clemens play this year. So you would know much better than I as far as do they have a leg to stand on tonight. But that's why they play the games, right? I mean, that's why Purdue went in there and beat Iowa the other week. I mean, you never know what's going to happen. That's the fun of it. And I'm with you. I try to remain objective and be professional, but I'm definitely pulling for the Rangers tonight.
Okay, so if you don't mind, just go straight on over there, and if you can interview Coach Darnell, the Countdown to Kickoff show will be all you, Jimmy Hammond of Seven Lakes, who will be Ridge Point's opponent in 2 weeks, and your good friend Bobby Darnell. And another thing about Clemens, whom you haven't seen yet, since Micah Darnell went out with the injury, Gunnar Chenier, the sophomore, very talented and getting good, better and better every week. So I think I don't think the moment tonight will be too big for him. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. And with that, for James Kovaleski, for Nathaniel Nunez, our outstanding producer, for Merle Bertrand, Suna Venkat, the entire Vype team, thanks for being with us. Our final score, Ridge Point 49 and Bush 21. And we will come your way at 5:45 with the Countdown to Kickoff show before Clements and George Ranch. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for being with us.